Hello, I'm Peachy.
Hello, I'm Patrick.
And we have a guest with us that probably doesn't need an introduction, but maybe you should introduce yourself. Who the heck
I'd
are
like
you?
an introduction. Hello, I am Louise, and I don't feel like I've been putting this off for a long time, but it's been a long time. I think like in the first week I was like, oh, we should do this, and then we just got so busy.
You got busy, I got busy, everyone got busy, and then like still open
Life.
invite out there, Duncan, just saying.
Gonna Duncan, check your emails.
Check your DMs. But yeah, so it's life, innit? And
It is.
busy making a YouTube channel is hard work.
Yeah, but look at us.
I know.
We need to do the meme, which is like, hey, look at us.
Look at us.
Look at us. Who would have thought? Not me.
Definitely not me.
Yeah, I know, right?
I thought I'd retire and die there.
Me too.
Yeah, so if we think back to when I was fresh faced and joining G-dubs.
You've never been free. You make it sound like you didn't have
together.
a beard.
yeah, I did.
You had a
yeah.
shorter beard, granted.
Yeah.
Slightly
Yeah,
shorter.
potentially. It goes through phases.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has been trimmed
It's in the
ever
painting
so
phase.
slightly. It's in the painting phase. Yeah.
But yeah, I remember when Patrick started and we were like, he was the new kid.
He was a new kid and everything was cool and we got on so well. We used to have lunch outside at the front because it was sunny. I miss those days.
Yeah,
I
those
do
were
miss those
good.
days.
Yeah, those were
Good
fun
times,
days.
good times.
Yeah.
I remember
yeah.
my dog having a crush on you and touching your butt in
Yeah.
public. That was good.
That was probably, in the top 5 experiences
Highlight.
of my life. Yeah.
Especially at Games Workshop.
Sounds mum's
Yeah,
dog.
yeah, top experience at Games Workshop.
Getting touched up by my dog.
Just any contact, it's all
That's
good.
on our OnlyFans channel. Do check that out in the links.
Yeah.
Should not have winked into camera one there. Should not have done that.
Well, I didn't cut to it. If you want to do it,
Okay, you ready?
Oh, that's peachy. There you go.
Nice.
There we go.
There we go.
You can just see it blurred out on the edge there.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. Go back to the beach.
We've got terrible camera discipline. Really.
Yeah, we're just all
Yeah.
terrible.
Well, I've realised that I do this more often than I care to admit, and put the HDMI cables in the wrong cameras.
Oh, what? So, like, your little keyboard. Do they know
Yeah.
you're, like, rigged up like the Mechanicum?
Yeah, I've said
Do
it a
they
bunch
know?
of times. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Who's they?
Who's they? The people. The
people,
internet
them,
people who we can talk to. Hi, internet people. Hi. I'm doing it to every camera just to make
Do
sure.
it to mine as well, why not? I don't know if you can do it to Pat.
Oh
so
no,
that's out
sorry.
the way.
This has been a good podcast so far.
And that's it, we're done. Thanks for joining us. Catch you on the next one.
Yeah.
Great.
Super sidetracked already.
Already.
On brand.
On brand.
On
I mean,
brand.
we've got Suggs in the room, so it's
Exactly.
gonna get only worse.
Yeah.
I can't remember the amount of conversations I start about a topic, and then it takes me about an hour before I finally get back to it.
Yeah. It really bugs a lot of my friends. I got sat down by Rob and he explained how conversations usually work the other day. He's like, now I don't know if anyone's ever told you this, Louise, but you just, when you start a conversation, usually you finish it or you tell someone that you're changing the subject and you see if they want to go along with it. And I'm like, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't.
Because we are butterflies, and I remember
We
many
are.
times in the office we'll be talking about, I don't know, Frank Frazetta art or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'll like suddenly remember something about my favourite piece of art, but by that point when it's just ready to come out of my mouth, she's already moved on.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And we're now on to, I don't know, pictures of cats on the internet or something
That's
like
really
that.
important.
Yeah.
To be honest, that and Frank Frazetta is a bit of an overlay.
Yeah, it is,
So
yeah,
there's-
It was interesting. I think my fond memories of Games Workshop were the first office that we were in when we were on the ground
big
floor.
round one, yeah.
And it was all like social distanced, and we all had like the big separate
Yeah.
like spaces and everything.
mad.
And we just yell across the office, and
Great.
it was quite open. And then when we went upstairs, they had all the partitions in the way.
Oh,
and
for
then,
a time, yes, they did,
yeah,
yeah.
and then
Oh, I
all the
remember that.
all the painters, so like you guys, like all the fun people, you got put on one bank of desks.
I missed you.
I
was sad.
I have fond memories of chatting to the army painters for Battle Report.
Oh, they're
They
great.
were great.
They're
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
One of my favorite like lockdown memories of me and Peachy was when we had to do, what was it called? Imperium.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
And
yeah.
oh, there's a fly. We
Just
had
a
to
fly,
do
just a
do Imperium, and but in order to like present it, me and Peachy had to be like this close to each other because that's where the camera field
And there was
was.
a
They
perspex
put
screen
a
in
perspex
the middle.
screen in between
Yeah.
me and Peachy, and we just kept like punching it.
Because neither of us were like infected or bothered. When it
Infected,
came-
unbothered, moisturised in our zone.
But when it came down to the finished article, you wouldn't see the partition.
It was
Yes.
actually
So it
really
looked-
well done.
But it looked
yeah.
like we weren't socially distanced anyway, so if
Yes.
someone did complain, It would have. But we
Yeah,
were.
yeah.
But then,
how
like
do you
halfway
know?
through filming, they like lifted the restrictions
Yes, they did,
as
yeah,
well,
yeah.
which was it was just very well. But I remember Peachy like putting his like face up against the crowd, and I'm like, Peachy, that's not very.
I was window
that's-
licking.
He was, and I did not appreciate that. That's why we left.
That's why I left first. And then Louise was
Yeah,
like, yeah. all
So
right.
I remember chatting to the guy that organised that shoot, and he said like, because I think there was a few other shoots that maybe weren't quite so COVID compliant.
No.
And he was like, we could get in trouble here. Like, we want to make sure it's.
Oh, they did a really good
Correct.
job, and we were like, this isn't gonna look good on camera, and then it ended up looking really
It's
good.
great,
And I
yeah.
really
Yeah,
enjoyed that.
I did, I enjoyed
really
that, yeah.
enjoyed doing that. Yeah.
I think there was a clip that maybe you put online or something,
Maybe.
and you were like, all your skin falls off from a gas blaster.
Oh, yeah.
And Peachy just goes, that sounds like a horrible way to die.
Oh yeah, because they were like, oh, because we had to do, because it was like basically not for kids, but we had to be a bit like, presentary about
Yeah,
it, and it was
yeah.
like gauze blasters rip the flesh off the skin, leaving their victims paralyzed and and stuff. And
Yeah.
Peach was like, oh, that sounds like an awful way to die, and I was like, it is. Anyway, and that was like in the script. I can't remember who wrote the script. I
I
follow
can't,
them
yeah.
on Twitter.
Yeah.
They're really funny,
Yeah.
and they were quite glad that bit ended up in
Yeah,
the
was
script.
it
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think it
No,
was
it
Gav. Was
wasn't.
it Gray? No, was
Yes,
it Graham?
it was Graham Lyon, and there
Yes!
was one terminology in that. Sorry, Graham. I can't
Sorry,
remember what it was-
Graham.
I can't remember what it was for life, but we were both like, that makes no sense.
What was it?
I know, it was really frustrating because it was just like, it was like a way to end a conversation.
Oh, okay.
And I
Yeah.
can't remember it for the life of me now, but we didn't
We
didn't
need to
put it
get the
in.
clip and we can put
Yeah,
it here,
we didn't-
maybe.
We didn't put it in, but I was just like, who
I
talks like that?
remember having to refilm gauze because it's pronounced Gauss.
Gauss, yeah.
Yeah. Gauss.
All the words, because Phil Kelly done his big document.
That's
of,
cool.
like, how
Do
to
people
pronounce.
know that this document exists?
Outside, we've talked about it. I think,
Have you?
But,
Yeah.
I think
There's a pronunciation document at G-Dubs which Phil Kelly has written, and also he's spoken everything.
Yeah.
So you can press a little button and hear like Phil Kelly do
so it's
something.
got is it phonetic?
Phonetic. That's
Phonetic
it.
when you
Yeah.
pronounce.
Yeah, you pronounce something like
Yeah, yeah,
phonetically.
yeah.
And then
Phonetic.
obviously recording of him doing it, and
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
it was really
It's
weird. 'cause-
absolutely needed.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, from paint range point of view, I'm pretty
Yeah.
all right with it. But we had 3 new people that had started.
Yes.
That were externals,
Yes.
Apart from Emma.
Well, I also had only pronounced him in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it was like Abaddon. I was
Yeah.
like,
Uriel, Uriel Yellow.
It's Iriel, isn't it?
It's Uriel.
Yeah,
Uriel.
it's not Uriel.
Uriel.
Yeah.
Uriel.
I call it I call it urinal.
It's kind of like the GIF thing,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
the creator of the GIF said no, it's GIF, and then
Did
the
he?
internet went
You're wrong.
wrong.
Literally, you're wrong. I still forget if it's Abaddon or Abaddon.
It's Abaddon.
I think.
Oh no!
it's
Oh no!
Abaddon.
Abba.
Because I
Abaddon,
feel like
because-
I remember Martin being like, it's ABBA, like the disco
Yeah,
band,
yeah.
and he's yelling at me.
Because I want to say Abaddon because
Yeah.
it sounds like
Abaddon.
A bad
a
one.
northerner going, oh, he's Abaddon.
He's Abaddon.
Yeah,
That's
and I
probably
think
where
that's
it
just
came
cool.
from,
Yeah.
right?
It's high gothic and low gothic. That's the way I see it.
Yeah,
It's the two
Yeah.
You're
different ways.
Northern Gothic.
Northern
Yeah,
gothic.
extra low gothic.
It's subterranean
I can say that because I'm
Gothic.
northern.
Or are you? Oh, you are Cumbria.
Cumbria, yeah.
I'm more northern
Yeah.
than you. I'm more
just-
northern.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
You're true north.
I don't sound like it though.
The real north.
Yeah.
Frozen North.
You're from Beyond the Wall.
I am from Beyond the
Yeah.
Wall.
We have
Yeah.
many a chats about rebuilding Hadrian's Wall. You know.
Yeah.
We'll just pee on it again. I think that's what my ancestors did when they built the wall. I think they built it just to keep the Scottish people out.
Yeah.
Because the Scottish people just started like flinging poop over the wall, and they were
Nice.
like, okay, maybe not, but yeah, like never conquered, so whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty good going.
Yeah,
Pretty good going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't
I mean,
need to brag.
who wants to conquer it? What's there to conquer?
Well, that's why they were like,
Mountains, lakes.
no, thank you.
Best scenes ever for any kind of like film.
Yeah.
Great castles.
Apart from New Zealand.
That's what I mean. Thing is, right?
Mm.
I know why they didn't conquer Scotland.
Why? Well,
Because
actually,
you've got Wales and
factually,
it looks the same. It's fine.
doesn't look. Wales is really nice. Wales is probably nicer.
From recent experience of going to Wales, I was like, why would you leave Wales? It's just beautiful. It's like
lovely.
Middle Earth. But
is,
then,
it
you know,
is.
Because
Scotland's
like
same.
the Lake District is like I grew up around there, and that's really stunning. And you're like, oh, why would I ever leave? But I imagine going up. My dad used to live in Inverness for a while.
I love
And-
Inverness.
And going up to, we sort of did a kind of, I guess, drove around the Highlands a bit, and you got
Lovely.
Apple Cross, and you can look over to Skye and all these, and you're like,
Beautiful.
okay, I get it now.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Yeah.
I want to do a shout out to my bros in Aberdeen, in the Aberdeen store. because I miss
Nice.
them. I miss them every
Aw.
day.
Yeah.
They're my bros. I used to go to uni up in Aberdeen.
Oh, cool.
And the Aberdeen Games Workshop was like my first proper local.
Yeah.
And I still miss them very much. It was like 10 years ago now. I always think like, oh, I only got into Warhammer like a couple of years ago or something like
That's
that.
what the internet wants you to do.
Yeah, literally. But it's actually been like 10.
Yeah.
Like, well, I moved up here like 8 years ago, and I feel like I've only been into Warhammer for 8 years, but actually it's 8 plus 8 because
Oh, okay, yeah.
yeah, because I which is wild. So it is a long time now that I've been
Yeah.
doing it. It doesn't feel like it.
It is interesting because I've seen, like, I know you've been in the hobby since like you could.
Since I could.
And then you always get like the person on the internet going, no, you're just doing it to get the likes, just doing it to get the
I
followers.
know. There's so many
And it's
other
like,
things I
no.
could do for attention. I remember. I've said this many times before, but it's like I've spent all this time, and I'm like, God, I hope a boy looks at me. I really hope that happens. Like, it seems like such a stretch that anyone would pick this very, like, you have to spend hours alone painting
Yeah.
to get attention
Yeah.
from boys. I don't know.
It's a male-dominated hobby.
It is a male-dominated hobby. That's not incorrect, but
Yeah, I
that
don't
doesn't mean the
No,
ladies
exactly,
don't exist.
Yeah. That's why I put
There's
a silly
just less
voice
of
on.
us.
Were you doing
And
your
it
World
is-
War II enthusiast voice that we often
Yeah,
do? I think
yeah.
you're fine.
I think actually, it's the
I think
actually.
you'll find the female. No, yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
not even
God.
going to go there.
Don't, please don't.
Yeah.
I've been in my comment sections before.
I was going to put a quick sort of like, well, I guess,
Go on.
conversation thread about like
Go on.
Rogue Hobbies. Tell us about that.
Oh yeah.
Well, rather than getting to like
yeah.
promoting yourself for a little bit,
Let's
we'll
do
just get
that.
sidetracked
Okay,
again.
I guess I should have done that when I introduced myself.
No,
I just went,
it's fine.
I'm Louise, Peachy's my best friend. So, yeah, when I left Games Workshop, I nearly called it Games Hobbies. Whew. When I left Games Workshop, I decided to start my own channel called Rogue Hobbies.
Great.
And it's, thank you, Peachy came up with a name. I think we can confirm that now. I think
don't think I did.
this is, you did. I
think we
remember
came up with it
you.
together.
I know, we came up
Together.
with a few names together, but I feel like you came up with Rogue Hobbies, and it was a really good one. So thank you, Peachy. Peachy came up with a name. Thanks,
I'm not
Peach.
taking credit for it.
I
'cause
will give you credit for it. But yeah, I started.
Royalties, baby.
Baby. Yeah, I started my own YouTube channel called Rogue Hobbies, and it's mostly on YouTube. I do videos on Patreon as well, but because I came from Masterclass, I was kind of sick of being paywalled,
Yeah.
because I was always actually quite jealous of like you guys and the YouTube painters, because I always thought that was like more fun because you get to engage with more people, and I always actually felt quite limited in
Yeah,
Masterclass because I was like, cool, but it's still like quite aggressively paywalled. Like you couldn't
Yeah,
see
yeah.
any of my stuff. I think they occasionally release like a free video, but you had to pay to see any of my content because I wasn't really doing like any YouTubery stuff. I did Imperium, but like not a lot of the other stuff. So one of the big reasons I wanted to leave was to become unpaywalled and just kind of have a platform where I can just do stuff,
Yeah.
and that's part
Do
of it.
what you're good at.
Yes, well,
Yeah.
but what I
Obviously,
do...
you're not good at Masterclass, obviously. She's very good
I
at
thought you were going to say
Masterclass.
maths, and I'm not good at that.
Oh, no, same.
But so my Patreon acts as, I guess, Masterclass, where if you want to pay some money, you can still watch my kind of like high-end, in-depth tutorials. But I am always releasing content for free
Yeah.
on YouTube at like the same pace, which makes me really happy that I've got that balance now.
I love those videos, like the iceberg
Oh, the
one.
iceberg video.
What was the
Yeah,
recent
that
It's
one?
my
was a big
favorite
one.
one.
What was the recent one?
It's the most popular one, which I don't want to say I predicted, but I did, because I love iceberg videos. Like, I don't know if you guys are into YouTube at all, but iceberg videos.
No, don't know anything about it.
If there's
Tell me more.
let me explain YouTube to you, PT. Well,
Can you woman explain?
I can try. I don't think it'll work. I love iceberg videos. So if there's anything that says iceberg video, like Skyrim iceberg video or anything like that, I instantly click on it, even if it's something I'm not really interested in.
Yeah.
I just love an iceberg video. And I've wanted to do the weird miniature iceberg video forever, because that's like my entire jam.
Yeah.
I'm the person that knows all about the weird miniatures at Games Workshop and probably has them all as well. So I was really happy with that, and people seem to have really liked it. I think it's the one that people come up to me the most and say that was my favorite video.
Yeah, it's a good video.
yeah.
I mean,
It's
they're all
really
good
good
that you've done. For anyone that's watching, I mean, go watch the video, for God's sake, because it's great. But just a brief sort of like, if someone's watching, they go, what's an iceberg video? Can you give a brief description of what that
that's a really
actually
good.
means?
Yeah. So an iceberg video is like quite a common format on YouTube, and how it works is that you start at the top of the iceberg, and it's like the iceberg's above the water, and it's kind of the things that everyone knows. So if it was a Warhammer lore iceberg video, let's say the top would be something like, oh, there's like this many Primarchs, or the Emperor exists and just like basic stuff. Then when you go down a level, if it was like a Warhammer conspiracy theory lore video, which is quite a good idea, it would be something like, I don't know, cherubs are vac-formed babies or something like that.
Yeah.
And then the further down, it's more esoteric knowledge until you get to the bottom, and it's like, Horus didn't kill the Emperor. The Emperor killed Sanguinius, and they switched places and stuff like that, right?
Crikey.
So the icebergs are like that, and I just smacked my mic, and the way that the weird miniature iceberg video works is that the lower down you get, the weirder and most like unheard the miniatures are.
Yeah, which seem to be mostly Trish's.
It was awesome.
It is mostly Trish's.
We had Trish on
I know.
Just after that video was released, so it was awesome
I
to
love
chat
Trish.
to her about like
Ostrich Man on
and
horse.
Yeah,
I watched that, and I was like, did I hear her say she might be making more?
Yeah.
So excited.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, they're like my favorite range of miniatures. I really want to do it for like Golden Demon, like properly paint up Ostrich Man on horse and like a scenic base and everything, and go so hard for Golden Demon.
Such a good naming convention.
You got horse.
Yeah,
What
horse,
else are you? I don't even know what
it's
the
horse
official
with
name.
An extra bit of horse.
It's a horse with the body of a horse and the
Yeah.
body of a horse.
It's like a centaur, but
Centaur,
weird,
tor.
isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
but
really
weird.
bizarre.
Yeah, it's double horse all day.
Yeah.
all horse. But yeah, I'm so excited to do more videos like that. I've got some other ideas for like sort of iceberg videos that I've teased on like my Twitch and stuff like that, but I'm not going to do too much. I'm not going to say too much right now.
I mean, we make that mistake of like saying like all these cool ideas and make plans and never get around to doing them, and people are like, where's this thing you said you're going to do?
I did that. I remember saying I was going to make a black metal version of the not the goth rocker, what was the other one, the noise marine. And I kept saying I was going to do it, and I kept saying I was going to do it until someone did it for me and sent me the miniature. And then they did it incredibly well, like the most beautifully, and I'm like, I can't do it anymore. Like, and it was so cool, but I was like, I left it too long.
Less colours involved, right? And you like your colours.
Black and white.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I can't paint black and white, so like, kind of grateful actually.
She can.
I literally cannot. I can only paint black and white if it's like colourful.
Here we go again. I remember the like masterclass, like,
can't do it.
I don't know how to paint black, and then just knocks out the best black painted miniature.
That's
I've ever
very
seen.
kind
I
of
can't
you.
do white, and then just makes the crispest looking white ever. I'm like, I hate you. So,
I hate you too, Pete. I'm glad we got that
I've never tried
out.
this before until today, and then all of a sudden, like, she just knocks out the best gold.
I do want to make a video where I rate all my masterclass.
Oh, that's
I think
cool.
that's fun.
Yeah, that would be really interesting. Yeah.
Because there's not a lot that I don't like. I was really proud of what I did in masterclass.
No, you
Should be.
Yeah, and I'm really glad it's still there.
Yeah.
As like, I haven't left and then I'm like, disregard. I'm still really happy when people like tag me in their masterclass like attempts and stuff like that. I'm really proud of the body of work I did at Masterclass, and I'm glad it still exists there. In the same way I'm proud of like all the illustration work I did at Games Workshop. Same with Masterclass. I'm really glad it's there.
Give it time. They'll remove your face from it.
I don't think because faces are back.
They are. Yeah.
Are they back?
Yes. Have you not seen this?
No.
Yes, that we have a new Masterclass presenter.
Oh yes, I've seen. Yes, I saw his like picture. So you see his face in the videos.
Yeah, his face is in the videos. Yeah, which is great. So war is over.
Is YouTube faces?
It's you. I don't know
I've not
yet.
checked recently.
I don't
but
think
they
so.
were hands last time I looked.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a quick look.
He's gonna have a little Google,
Interesting,
but it's really good. I'm super happy. It's just better, and I know you guys have talked about this at length. I think whilst it was happening and I was still there. But I think it just makes for a better product.
It does. I mean, it's weird. It's a very workshop. Well, not even workshop thing to do. It's a very marketing thing to do. Where
It's a very strange thing to do.
so like our best presenters left to go off and do a thing, and now there's me there and there's you there. It's like, oh, another one's left. We should probably like put restrictions on, as opposed to look as to why they're leaving. Let's put more restrictions on the presenters, and then more presenters are like, right, that's it. We're going to double down on this. It's such a weird sort of like approach, as opposed to going, what is making these people
It's
leave?
the stick rather than the carrot, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just glad it's back. It feels strange because obviously whilst I was there, I was advocating quite hard for faces to be put back, and obviously like I don't think a lot of people saw this because I wasn't allowed to talk about it or anything like that. But I was very much advocating for them. I was in meeting rooms being like, "Oh, are you aware that there's no more female representation in any of the videos?" And they said, "Oh, we didn't realize that."
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole point of getting like Lizzie and Emma in, and then having.
Well, the point was
like,
that they're very talented, but
well,
it's good.
No, you're right. But
yeah, obviously,
we had. It wasn't even like thought about that way at the time, but there was a point where there was a male masterclass presenter, a female masterclass.
Oh yeah, that was great. Me and Aidan.
Two left-handed presenters, one being male, one being female.
Got to have that left-handed visibility.
Well, I think so,
it is good. Yeah.
Weirdly, as much as you can like talk about like representation stuff like that. Doesn't matter what you look like on the outside. Sometimes actually how you hold the brush, being a left-handed person and a right-handed person, makes all the difference when it comes
and
to
how
painting.
you paint a miniature.
Yeah.
Right. So if I'm trying to get my left hand around a little like power sword or something, maybe it's trickier than a right hand.
I remember when I joined Warmer TV, obviously I got a lot of flack because I'm not Duncan.
We all got a lot of flack. I get it every day.
Oh, look, it's not Duncan. But what I did get was a lot of positive comments from all the left-handed painters out there. And granted, the world's population of left-handed people is like 10%, right? Probably less than that.
I think it is less, but still, like that's lovely.
But useful for them.
And didn't that feel nice?
It did feel nice.
Imagine if they took away your left hand.
But then I felt really bad because I was only painting presenter for a short space of time, and I was a left-handed presenter, and there was no right representation.
Who? Oh no.
Yeah.
Who's left-handed now?
Emma.
Oh, it's Emma. Oh, there you go.
So two lefties and two righties.
10%.
Nice.
10%. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Cool.
10%.
And I think it's
is
like
it?
1% is ambidextrous, which is what I also am.
I draw with my
Correct.
left hand.
Yeah.
Are you ambidextrous as well?
Yeah. I'm less strong when it comes to painting, but like lots of other stuff I can do. I mean, scissors. This used to.
I draw better with my left hand.
Have you seen Karl Kopinski's when he's doing his?
It's wild.
so
Have
weird.
you seen this?
No.
Illustrator Karl Kopinski draws with both hands at the same time so that he can like sketch
You
his
just
face
like look at his
symmetrically.
reels on like Instagram. And
He used to do stuff for Games Workshop. He's
Yes.
incredible.
Yeah.
I saw the fly.
Yeah. We've got
But yeah.
another guest on the podcast.
Yeah.
He's cute. I like
Yeah.
him.
We'll call him Dave.
Oh, Dave. We like Dave.
We like
Why,
Dave.
Dave?
But what, Dave? But yeah, I think it's really good that they've got the faces back on Masterclass, and long may it continue.
Yeah. I just
It-
hope it goes to the other guys as well.
I think it will. There's no
deserve it.
reason why. There's no
So-
reason why it wouldn't. Oh, have you done your research?
The latest YouTube video is just hands. But
Oh, okay.
it might be that they're editing the backlog, so give
yeah,
them the
maybe.
benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, it does take a while.
Yeah, usually we'll be like a month or two ahead.
Yes.
So I say we. I keep saying we.
You gotta stop.
I've got to stop.
It's been out a year. It's never going to happen.
Has it been a year?
Well, it's a year I left. Was the 1st of September I left.
No, has it? Happy anniversary! Oh my gosh,
And then I
that's
did a month of
wild.
filming with Pat, and then our first video was the 2nd of October, I think.
So,
Something like
yeah.
that.
I think
Yeah.
I can't remember what mine was. Mine was just paint anything as quickly as you can,
Yeah.
so that you can start. And I think it was my Rainbow Warrior, which was, in hindsight, the longest tutorial that I've ever done. And I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
So I got a question about that.
Oh yeah,
So not about the Rainbow Warrior.
Oh.
So you were. Well, we can talk about Rainbow Warriors.
I like Rainbow Warriors.
There's a lot of emotions going on right now.
I'm doing that
So
thing I do.
you were very worried
Yes.
when we used to have our chats in the coffee room and like
Terrified.
in other rooms about leaving. So was I,
Yes.
rightly so.
Yes, very scared, very scared.
And then this beautiful human was like, "Come work with me," and I was like, "Yes, please."
Yes, please help me, save me.
Because, like I say, we had this idea of doing our own thing.
Yes,
and,
we did. Have you talked about that before?
Briefly skirted around it? Said, me, you, and Hats were going to.
Yeah. Me and Peachy did discuss starting up our own thing together as a squad, which would have been fun. But it just. Sorry, you carry on.
No, I was just.
interrupting.
I was just sort of watching the fly back to headbutt poor Pat in the face.
I did think about headbutting it.
Yeah, or whacking
Dave.
it back out the window like the other one.
Yeah,
Dave is
that was really good.
aggressive. I don't appreciate his energy in this room right
Yeah.
now.
You what, mate? You
But
what?
yeah, me and Peachy and Hattie planned because I feel like we would have been a really good team with me and you doing the painting side because we have quite different styles and different paces, and Hattie doing the editing. That would have been fun. But we all just had our cut-off points, I think,
Yeah,
which were
yeah.
wildly different.
Yeah.
I always say I'm far too forgiving. And
Yes,
I think that translated into how long I took to leave.
Yeah,
as a
well, I
gift to you
checked out a
guys.
year before I left. I was physically left.
Yes,
Sorry,
mentally.
physically there, but mentally gone.
Yeah.
And I was just, there was like that kind of, I guess I don't want to leave.
You love the place.
Yeah, I love the place.
Yes,
I've been there for so
exactly.
long. I didn't want to leave on bad terms, but I knew some people would just take umbrage with me going anyway. Because
Yeah,
it'd be that
it wouldn't.
kind of,
It wouldn't matter how you left or where you went. Yeah.
You're going to have a fight with someone in the car park.
oh, yeah, well, apparently.
Oh, yes,
and
what
won
is
and
this?
lost. I don't know. It's-
What is? Because I've heard this rumor as well.
Well, everybody that leaves, like
Has a fight in the car
Price
park.
when he left, apparently had a fight in the car park.
Who did have a fight in the car park?
We probably added fuel to the fire when we came up with all the fake stories about why
Oh, that was
Duncan
great.
left, which is probably the most I've laughed.
Can
like, on the
I want
podcast.
to make up a story.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yes,
So
please do.
everybody knows our thoughts on why Duncan left, like what we've heard. What have you heard? Why did
I
Duncan
heard
Rhodes leave Games
Duncan
Workshop?
Rhodes because he won't come, and he has to come on the show now to deny all these allegations.
absolutely.
You
Yeah,
need
yeah.
to, if and when he comes on, print out a list of the allegations and just get him to read them. I heard Duncan Rhodes when he used to do like painting tutorials, you know, like at fests and open days.
Oh, okay,
he
yeah.
would collect all the kids' paint water together, and then he'd use that to make off-brand agrax or shade, which he would sell at double the price.
Oh, I did not know this.
Yeah, honestly, this is just what I've
Scandalous.
heard. That's just what I've heard, Duncan, from the grapevine.
Yeah.
So now he has to come on, and I'm sure your allegations were probably much worse.
Oh yeah,
Usually involve fighting.
yeah.
Fighting someone in the
nudity,
car
I think,
park.
at one point as well. I think it was
Yeah.
nudity.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, Duncan
yeah.
Rose started X Games Workshop Levers Fight Club in the car
Oh, I
park.
think at the time you hadn't left as well, so we hadn't come up with a story as to why Louise, because we knew you were leaving, but obviously
Yeah,
you hadn't
yeah.
physically left, so we couldn't
Yes.
say anything. But
Yeah, I appreciate that.
But yeah, so with like the chats we had, and you were very nervous.
Oh, I was-
How do you feel now? Do you feel like you did the right thing?
So I remember you leaving and me being like, because I think, like I said, we all had our cut-off point there, and I kept hoping it would get better. And I haven't gone into detail about like what happened, and I may never go into detail
Same,
about what
same,
happened.
yeah.
Obviously, the only hands thing was bad,
Yeah.
but it wasn't the final straw, or it wasn't like.
It was like one small
you were
part of
already
it.
gone.
Yeah, yeah.
I was already sad. But yeah, it was. I cried a lot to you, Peach, and I'm always so grateful. And I want to say this publicly now. So I'm
You've
really
already done that.
I want to do it again. I'm very grateful for Peachy for all the support you gave me whilst things were hard.
You
So
gave me support too.
thank you. We gave each other support. We're all there.
We were our own support network.
We were.
Yeah.
So it was hard when you left, obviously, but that's not why I left. Don't worry. But yeah, so I was scared. I was scared to stay
Yeah.
because my job wasn't looking like what I wanted to be in for the rest of my life, and I was scared to leave because it's like a terrible breakup where I started Games Workshop when I was very young, and I used to have these horrific panic attacks, and I didn't even know I was having it because I was overly invested in the company, like unhealthily so. I was like, oh, this is the dream job. They're going to fire me at any minute because I'm underqualified. The imposter syndrome, things
Yeah,
like that,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think it took me quite a long time to shift that misplaced loyalty in the company into loyalty into the thing that I love doing, which is actually just painting Warhammer and talking about painting Warhammer.
Yeah.
And that's still something sometimes that I struggle with. So there is this thing online, and I've become much healthier with my relationship with Games Workshop now, where it would be like, if anybody complains about anything to do with Games Workshop, they're a hater. They're negative, and they just need to, oh, it's just a toy, like, grow up. Why are you complaining? Why are you anti-Games Workshop,
Yeah.
right? And I think with my old age, I'm allowed to say that. I think...
Are you even 30?
I am 31.
Oh, crikey,
Gone
yeah.
past the mark. now.
I am. Thank you, though. I appreciate that, Patrick.
Only gets worse now. Everything's sad.
It was my birthday a couple of weeks ago. I went
Yeah.
to Boyle. It was great. But yeah, I think my relationship with the company has become way healthier since I've left. And
Good.
whilst things got bad, because whilst things were getting bad in the company, I didn't understand. I was like, why are they hurting me?
Yeah.
Why would the thing I love that I've poured all my, and I'm sure you felt the same, and you as well, probably, Patrick, that I've poured all my life into, it's the dream job. I picked up this job because I love it. Genuinely, I just want to express that. How can I be doing that wrong in a way which hurts me?
Yeah.
And that was really hard to come to terms with.
Yeah.
And it took me a very long time to come to terms with the fact that I may love the thing, but maybe some people don't love me back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's maybe making my job less good. So I think leaving has made me so much in such a healthier place with the hobby in general, because I knew that if I left, I could still do the thing that I loved, and it would be exactly the same as when I was there.
Yeah.
I may not have as wide an audience or anything like that, but it's exactly what I wanted whilst I was there, but doing it for myself. And I feel relieved.
Yes.
I feel,
Same.
I go into work and I don't feel like people don't like me.
Yeah.
And that's huge. And I think when I left, I think that was a huge weight off my shoulders, because it is exhausting. And this is a story I told less so on one of my YouTube videos, but I had a lot of people contacting me saying they had the exact same experience.
Yeah.
You don't know it, but when you go into a workplace where you're constantly worried, you're worried about what people think about you, and maybe you act extra friendly and extra helpful to try and be like, well, if that person that doesn't like me sees me, maybe they'll change their mind. They're not going to change their mind.
Yeah, they've already made their mind
Yeah,
up.
they've already made their mind up.
Yeah.
But it's such a relief to not have to do that. I have so much more energy from not having to push myself to try and get people who I don't think would ever like me to like me.
Because it's interesting, because you're not only like trying to like be enthusiastic about the job, but you've got to like
And I was
extra
enthusiastic.
persona and all
Yeah.
that energy into extra persona to get these people to. So yeah, for me, it's like I on the same kind of vein. Like I've spent years like working, enjoying because it is fundamentally when you look at it on paper, you are painting goblins, right?
Yes.
That doesn't
Love
sound
that.
like the most taxing job. There are worse jobs in the world
No,
than painting goblins.
I always say this. My actual job in Masterclass,
Yeah,
loved
yeah.
it. Easy.
And I mean, I love painting toy soldiers, and the problem is that was used as sort of like a mechanism to make you feel guilty if you
Yes.
complained.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or
because-
if the working conditions weren't right, or if someone was
Yes.
being a dick, or your manager wasn't very good, it was like you'd raise up and go, "This isn't fair," and these are the
Yes.
reasons why I don't think it's fair. Yeah, but you're just painting toy soldiers. Oh, okay, that invalidates.
Okay, I never
everything that's
got
gone
that.
on.
You've
Oh,
been
I've
there
had
for a
that
lot
quite
longer than
lot.
me, though, so I imagine they were less careful with the way they spoke, like a lot more years ago. But I remember being told we were privileged to do our job, and it's maybe the first time I ever kicked back a little bit, because I was like,
Yeah.
no, they put up a job advertisement because they needed someone,
Yeah.
and I filled that role, and they pay me to do it.
But they don't. I still don't think they advertise the salary of said job, because
No.
and that goes again with that we want to make sure that you're the right fit, and money shouldn't matter, and it's
Oh
like, hey,
yeah,
there's a cost of
the
living
personality
crisis. Like,
hires, right? And obviously coming straight
Or
out of uni, I was like, I'll take anything.
they want people to feel that they are privileged, that they are part of the family.
I fell for it.
And
I still feel a certain amount of loyalty.
Yeah, to a certain extent, like I did a little bit. Like,
Yeah, it's a cool job.
Yeah, it's a cool job, and I was like, oh wow, awesome. But then I got there, and I think because I didn't have that, like I played bits of Warhammer in primary school, and
Oh, it
remember,
wasn't like
the
your
Calgar
life,
thing.
yeah.
No, that's it. And I've been self-employed for a long time. I'd had like roles in other like climbing walls and ran some of them.
Cool.
So I guess I'd like been around the block like a little
You
bit.
can say you're very experienced when you came in.
But like, yeah, it was kind of like I was like, I don't like this. Can I change it? No,
yeah,
I'm going.
I think it was the same with other Patrick as well.
Yeah,
because with all this fresh blood coming in, people were like seeing it with new eyes, and they were like, some of this stuff ain't for me. Bye bye. Whereas with me and you, I think it was just like, that's the culture, that's the way. And I want to make this very clear. I used to work in the SDS, Specialist Design Studio. Some of the best years of my life. I say this every single video I do. I love those guys.
Yeah,
they
they're
can
great.
do no wrong. There are parts of the company. Literally, if anyone ever has complaints about SDS, stop it. They're all lovely people, and I love what they do. I loved working there. I don't regret leaving because I discovered something I really like to do. I don't regret doing like the job switch from being an illustrator to doing this because I love doing this. But there are parts of the company which are fantastic, and it's a great company, and it's full of fantastic people who are like us, just doing their best to make the best product in the world, and they do it, and they're great. There's maybe like 5 rotten apples. Yeah. Right?
It's really, so, I mean, you know, we have opinions and sometimes I air them, and that's fine. I'm allowed to. And, you know, you do get we're in a good place. Sometimes we get accused of being simp. Sometimes we get accused of being negative.
So I don't like hearing you say simp.
Yeah, it's a new term I've discovered. But that means we're saying the right things, because if we're annoying both, that means we're on the right course, right?
Yeah, well, maybe.
But one of the things I've always tried to convey is most, like 99.9% of the staff at Games Workshop are amazing. And I pop in there as often as I can, and I'm always having conversations with them because they're lovely human. Yeah, I miss them too.
I miss them,
and that includes managers. There's loads of cool managers.
You were a manager.
I was a manager.
He's all right.
I was a terrible manager. That's why I stepped down, especially in the photography.
Yeah, not all managers are bad. Not at all. Not at all. And I think marketing's a tricky place to be a manager, because there's a lot of fires going off, and there's a lot of fear around marketing, I think. And I think, like, we all speculate about why the Only Hands thing happened. I think a lot of it was fear. And I think they don't know how to balance risk and benefit. So if they risk people becoming popular and they risk that and they leave, then that's a huge hit to them. It doesn't need to be.
So it's what I was going to say earlier when you were talking about, like, you went for the job, right?
Yes.
We've talked about this. Well, yeah, but you were so one of the reasons why you were hired, and I remember them talking about it, is because of your clout on the internet.
Really?
Because you had quite a following on the internet. We're like, we need that, because that is big clout that we can make use of because of promoting Warhammer Plus.
That's crazy. I don't think I knew that.
I thought we had this conversation. Yeah, you did.
I'm just happy that, like, Games Workshop think I have clout.
Yeah, but you were in the Specialist Games Design Studio as a graphic designer, and you had 45,000 followers.
Because I posted miniatures for like 10 years before that.
Liz tells me...
You're saying clout and simp. Who are you?
But listen, don't use the term clout, because it's an old Victorian thing that ladies used to use for themselves. And I was like, okay.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks for making that real clear. So, nobody else knew that until right now.
That's a device for ladies. Because we were in hygiene.
Oh.
Yeah, but anyway, so you had clout. That's why you were hired. And one of the things I found
I really hate that word.
You should be like, clout rhymes with gout.
Thank you.
And sprout.
But I'm glad I have that word.
But yeah, so you had a great influence on the internet, and
nice.
they hired you in for that as well as being, like, you know, a bubbly, awesome human being who's super enthusiastic, and sometimes hard to get conversations going because you can't get word in edgeways.
Maybe too easy to get conversations going.
But the thing I think that bothered me the most with that, I think he's just flipped onto the floor there. He's like,
is Dave dead?
No, he's fine. He's just scratching his bum.
He's just chilling.
Does he want some water?
He's having a clean.
He's having a clean. He's like, look at my ass.
Can we get a Dave cam?
I don't think we can get a Dave cam.
No.
Oh.
I don't think so.
He just fell out.
You know when dogs have got worms and they just scrape their bum across the carpet?
That's what Dave's doing.
On the table.
Yeah.
Just scraping his ass across your table.
I like Dave. He's got clout. Can we?
But the thing that bothered me was you knew a lot about social media, and you had all these ideas, and you talked to them. They were just like, "Get in your box and be quiet, please."
Oh, it was.
So that was quite frustrating.
It was the risk factor. I think we've got a Dave cam going on here.
Hey, Dave.
Hi, Dave. I think that again was the fear of risk. It would be, because I remember what in my ideal world, what I would have loved to do is to, whenever there's a masterclass that comes out, is to be able to post the thumbnail, which has been, like, approved and made by the graphic designers. You can literally go onto the website and, like, right click and save it anyway. It's not, like, new or anything, and be like, hey, this week on masterclass we're going to be painting goblins. Check it out now, with a bunch of links. And I just wasn't allowed.
Which is mad, because that makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's trickle-down marketing. Because I remember sitting in a meeting room and being like, I think this is a really good idea. I think that all the presenters should be allowed to... Oh, Dave's back up. That's great.
Yeah. Nice. He's had his bum wiped.
Yeah, good. I thought that was a really good idea. Like, all the presenters get to do that, because we're hired by the company to be presenters. It's not us personally. I was ready to sell out. I was, like, ready to sell out my social media for G-dubs, which in hindsight makes me a little bit scared. But like, I was prepared to do that. I was like, I just want to use it to promote this thing that I'm helping to make. And as the person doing it, I think it's a really good thing. And they were like, oh, does that mean that all the videographers get to do it too? And I'm like, yeah. It's more if I feel like, I don't know, I couldn't understand how it wouldn't just be a net positive. And I think the word egotism got floated around quite a lot.
Way too much.
And I remember that bothering me as someone with very low self-esteem. Being called egotistical makes you doubt yourself, and it makes you feel bad. It makes you feel guilty. And I really struggled with that because, again, it was hard for me to kind of balance the genuine enthusiasm I had for this thing and how that manifested, and maybe working in a corporate setting where that kind of stuff, and maybe it is a little bit, it's just corporations and they're going to corporate. I don't know.
It used to frustrate me when I used to hear them saying that kind of stuff, or overhear conversations, or get like secondhand information from like a meeting that's just happened. And it's like, yeah, but if you knew her, really actually knew her, then you know that's not what she is. And just because you've had other presenters that have left and you've accused them of being egotistical,
none
because
of them are.
I know, but it's that way to brand it, isn't it? It's like someone's left to go on.
Not even the one that left, even the ones that are there. Like, they're lovely. They're just there because
they want to paint.
Yeah, because they want to paint. Literally. Like, I remember starting, and I was like, oh, if they don't put my face in, that'll be fine. But then I learned that it's a good way to communicate, and I learned how to communicate, and it became, I think, a better thing. I would have probably been happy if there was no faces to begin with, honestly, because I had no self-confidence.
I guess if there was like an expectation that was maintained.
Or because I just didn't like my face, but then I got used to it. I like your face.
No, I don't like yours.
I like your face. Well,
thanks for listening, everyone.
Well, bye-bye.
No, I meant mine. Honest. Don't put it in the comments.
Put it in the comments. Bullied by Peach, or I'm used to it.
Oh, I've been accused of bullying you.
What did you do to me this time? What, are you going to get accused again, Peach?
It's not Andy or Tom from Mediocre Hobbies' fault. We did some podcasts.
What did you say about me?
We were talking about you leaving and like just like you doing all these numbers and stuff, and someone
doing all these numbers.
You were doing really well. Well,
thank you.
I think it was the topic of me and Pat were like, as long as we get to 70 or whatever it was. No, it was 60.
60,000.
If we get to 60
What, subscribers?
Yeah, before you can overtake us, we'll be happy.
You did, didn't you?
And we did.
Yeah.
Then you shot past us. Like,
oh.
At least we hit that goal before it happened.
I don't know how.
And I think someone in the comments on Twitter said, oh, I can't believe you're like really ripping into like Louise just because she's more successful than you. I was like, no, we're having a
Literally.
joke.
No, that's absolutely fair.
So if you are watching this,
friends for now.
I was just going to say, for how long?
Not for very long. Apparently.
No, you guys have absolutely smashed it. I'm very impressed with what you guys have done. I'm very proud of all of you. And Hattie too. She smashed it as well.
Yeah, she's doing great.
I guess Duncan, if he comes on the show, has done pretty well.
He's done all right. It's
it's
apparently he's got
interesting.
a paint range, I've heard.
Yeah.
It's all right, isn't it? All right for some.
To think back of like that, again, like that first office where we all were and everything was fine, and
we're all excited.
Games Workshop was wonderful because it was that hope, I guess, and like everyone that was in that room and like where we are now.
Yeah,
and it is.
I wouldn't have believed it.
I know we joked about this, like, oh, that where we are now and all that kind of thing.
But
it's wild.
It is.
It is.
It's absolutely wild.
I wouldn't have believed you if you told me like 2 years ago when we were in that little room that I would be doing this, because I was going to be a lifer. I was there for the little pin you get after 40. You get a watch now after 40 years.
Do you?
Yeah. 40-year vets get watches, and are nice watches. But yeah, I was there for life.
Yeah.
Like
I expect to retire. I totally honestly was like, I'm just going to work
me
to
too.
have a pension.
I've never had a job like that where I thought I'm going to stay in this for my life.
Wild. And people do. People happily do. I want to say it's not like a jail. They're not there against their will. People happily retire at Games Workshop.
Because that must be so difficult. Say like Trish was on. She said she was made redundant.
Yeah.
I worked with Trish when that happened.
Yeah. Like how difficult that must be if you're like, I want to work there for the rest of my life, and then that is taken away from you. That must be
especially
a really hard pill to swallow. Yeah,
that was rough. So I don't know how much detail she went into.
Not loads.
Because I worked in a similar department to the one. It was Forge World used to have, when it was Forge World, an Age of Sigmar department.
Oh, of course, I remember that.
And that's when I used to do some commission painting for Age of Sigmar. I did like the Rogue Idol and the Gargantuan Squig and stuff like that. And it was a great department.
Yeah.
It was great. It was flourishing. There was new sculpts. And then the main studio, I think we're like, all Age of Sigmar is going to be done in the main studio. And they just had to find places for everyone. And it was like 3 months old when they demolished it. And it wasn't, I don't know if it was anyone's fault. I think it was just unfortunate. And Trish just never got absorbed back into the company. And it's really sad.
Yeah.
But now...
Her new models are great.
Well, this is it. It isn't sad because she's smashing it as well.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to be smashing it. And I don't know, like, I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think Games Workshop's huge. But I think if there is competition out there, or not even competition, just diversity out there, because nothing's ever going to be competition.
No.
Because I don't know why.
Well, because it's a multi-billion million.
Yeah. And it's cornered the market. I think the more diversity that's out there, the more different miniatures that are out there, the more paints that are out there, it's only healthier for Games Workshop and hobbyists as well.
Yeah.
Everyone benefits.
Yeah, because when we had Tom on and he was talking about the hobby products and all that sort of stuff, and one of the Patreon questions was, what do you think about companies like AK that are making like really great paints and this, that, and the other?
Them.
And he was like, it's only a good thing because they're going to buy more Warhammer. So
literally, yeah. Like nothing is ever going to take over Games Workshop. When people go into a hobby shop, they're looking for a Space Marine.
The other thing as well is like, Games Workshop does a range of stuff. There's lots of like 3D printers, sculptors out there that then start doing stuff to go with that, which then benefits them. But then that benefits Games Workshop. We go, that's something that people like, so we'll increase on that, or we'll do something else to tick that box, and then they go, that's more stuff we can do things with. So it's like a war of escalation, really, isn't it? It's like
it is fun using different paints though now, isn't it?
I love using different
my gosh,
paints.
it's so good.
I will say I've used Citadel for 30 years plus, and in all its different sort of versions of the old school ones, then the previous
the hex pots
and stuff,
the first washes, new washes, contrast.
Let's say the current range of Citadel paints, I've used those to death because I had to use them in the Army Painter team and just like for marketing.
Same. I've used them my whole life.
And I was used to them. I knew what they could all do, and even like the bad ones, like Pallid Witch Chalk and like
Pallid Witch Chalk.
Ooh. I found a way of making it work for me.
You do, you smush it down a little bit, and mix it with some water.
But I don't have to do that now, and I can use like AK stuff. Or
Such
like
a fan of Pro Acryl. Yes, Pro Acryl. I really like a matte finish on my miniatures, and I think like Pro Acryl.
You like AK as well because that is super.
I have a bunch of AK, the weathering stuff. I've not used it yet. I need to get better at basing. I'm terrible at basing.
The liquid pigments are amazing.
So they cover really well, and what I've found is I can add the sheen later. So like with Workshop, it's like satin has a bit of a sheen to it.
Yeah.
Which when I look back at all my collections now really bothers me because like all the cloth has got a bit of a shine to it.
Yeah. It's good paints. I really like the Citadel paints, but I like the matte finish that you get with Pro Acryl. And now I was talking to Peachy. I just did that thing I do where I just start and new sentence.
Fine. I'm used to it.
I was talking to Peachy this morning about, because you're doing, if I can spoil, something a little bit gory.
Very
soon.
gory.
Yes.
Yeah. In fact, it'll be out.
In the background.
Yeah,
it
will be out by the time this is probably out.
When's this out?
Just in case.
Maybe not.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Who knows?
Yeah, we can allude. Yeah. I always say like, maybe sometime I'll do a video. Like people aren't getting a video this week because I'm going LARPing, but more on that later. I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, you were doing something a little bit gory, and I remember. So when we worked in like videos at Games Workshop, we were only allowed to use Games Workshop products, which is totally fair.
Yeah.
And when it's paints and stuff like that, it's marketing. There's like obviously.
Yeah.
But I had to do a video on how to do blood effects. And if you've ever done,
yes, I remember. Yeah.
It was a really fun video. Really liked it. But if you've ever done blood effects, the way to do it is to get is it Yoo-hoo or the Elvis blue, and then you pull it apart to make shut up, bitch. And you pull it apart to make the strings. Just say clout again. It's fun. And you pull it apart to make the strings. You drag it over the miniature and stuff like that. And there's a few different ways you can do that. But I wasn't allowed to use anything Games Workshop didn't sell.
So you had to chop up old paintbrushes, didn't you? And use the individual bristles?
It was, I had to, so that's normal. That's normal. The paintbrush method is normal. You can use a toothbrush, but paintbrushes are better because it's thinner.
Yeah.
The main one was that in order to like replicate the goo effect, I had to get 2 sprues, rub them together with plastic glue, and then stretch it over the miniature. Oh. We were inventive. And the army painters helped me out a little bit with it because I was like, can I please just use a little bit of...
But, see,
Because it's fine, but I think there should be an allowance for things like a craft knife or sandpaper, maybe.
I've used cartridge
tools,
paper,
right?
I've used masking tape, and I've used a pencil.
Oh, your masking tape is great. I love what you do.
But the thing is, we don't sell. Well, Games Workshop doesn't sell them.
You said we need like a water gun that we can like stop.
Pound jar or something like that.
Yeah. The wee jar.
Cartridge paper, masking tape, printer paper, whatever you want to call it, and like pencils. Games Workshop don't sell.
No.
Right.
No.
So we should be able to use those.
Yeah.
And it's the same for like just using stuff that you like scissors or whatever. If it doesn't make it, then it's not a problem.
No, I think that was during the time that they were a little bit scared. I think as with anything, they'll I'm still quite lenient and defensive about it. I don't know. I need to unlearn a lot of things, but I think it'll go back.
Yeah.
I think that was during a time where they were quite scared to do anything and they overthink things.
Post Duncan, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, and then PD. And then I think it'll go back because, like I said, I have high hopes for the future of Warhammer TV. They've got faces back. There seems to be like loads of new talent like Adam and Lizzie and Emma and stuff coming in. There's loads of cool new painters. They've got, I don't know, I'm hopeful. I hope things get better.
I think it's what we always used to say. It's like the pendulum.
Yeah, it does. It does
back
swing
and stuff like that. It was
classic pendulum always going back.
The old pendulum.
Not swinging, just
it reverts back every like 5 years. It's like a 5 year sort of like trend
loop.
Like,
it
depends who's in charge.
I think we unfortunately caught like a bad part of it, and I reckon like as new social media managers come in and stuff like
so
that.
I've got something I want to say.
Oh yeah,
because I've had it a few times now where people have approached me individually and said, "Oh, I heard Patrick Price was fired, or Patrick Price caused so many issues."
And he had a fight in the car park as well.
He's a delight. Who said this?
I've heard it so many times, like random staff when I was walking across.
He arrested 8 people at Games Workshop.
So I want to say now for the audience that's watching,
for the record,
Patrick Price turned up. He was a lovely human being. He was a Met armed police officer.
Yeah.
So he's seen some of the worst.
Thank you for your service, Patrick.
He's seen some of the worst of humanity and probably some of the best of humanity too.
Yeah.
He was a battle report presenter. Some stuff happened that he didn't agree with. He challenged it. It was ignored. So he escalated it and things happened. Yeah. He didn't agree with the decision and he decided this isn't the place for me.
Pretty normal, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was more than adequate and completely understandable. And he went back to being an armed police officer.
Sad, because he was great.
But he was a lovely human
fantastic.
being.
Yeah.
I've heard so many things that he got this person fired. He caused this problem. He was horrible. He was a bully. Not true.
He was lovely. No,
Is it
no. Patrick's like, no.
Face cam. Head shake.
It's not true.
Blink twice.
Blink twice. Peter's got a gun.
I haven't heard many. I heard a lot of rumors, like nasty rumors about why I got hired. Obviously, which sucks. A lot of that. Yeah. There was just some absolutely unhinged people on the internet, but I've never heard that one.
What about the petite female connoisseur?
Oh, stop! No,
Please
Peachy is referencing one of the worst. I think it. I don't want to say where.
I think they might have commented on our video saying that was me.
No, literally.
Yeah, because it was the chat. It was a chat with me and you, wasn't it? And we talked about it briefly.
It's so Peachy is referencing. I think this is all our usernames in our group chat now. Is like Hattie's petite female connoisseur. I posted a picture of myself and I thought it was quite a nice picture, but someone ended up posting it online and had like circled things and they described themselves as a petite female connoisseur and why I was ugly because my shoulders were too far apart or was it too narrow? I can't remember. But I remember this has always been a problem because when like I think it was me, you and Duncan used to do like some stuff and stuff like that, or I got referenced with you. People would say things on the internet like, oh, I love Peachy's like painting and Duncan's really good at like edge highlighting. Oh, it's a shame about Louise's hair though.
I remember the first review of Warhammer Plus.
Oh yeah, my cuticles.
And like they were rightly so like laying into Battle Report a bit, saying like the lighting wasn't very good, and you need to do this and this.
There's
and
an episode of Battle Report I'm in where I look like I'm dying. I want to put it out there. I was fine. It's just the lighting. But yeah.
And they went after Battle Report technically, and then with Masterclass, they were just like, oh yeah, Louise needs to sort her nails out.
Literally, like they were actually quite nice. It was, I'm not going to say who it was, a reputable gaming website.
Yeah, no, I'm going to say who it was. Can I not? Should I not?
I don't know. They've gotten better.
They wrote it and
yeah,
published
good point.
it. Like,
say
it's fine.
Say it.
It was Polygon.
It's the shape, people.
Yeah,
And they were actually really complimentary about Masterclass, which is really nice. And they said, we need less torn cuticles, though.
I mean,
I had such bad anxiety.
I mean, yeah, same. My fingernails are awful. When there was times where I was like, do I wear latex gloves when I do these?
So you know all the promo pictures you see for Masterclass where it's someone painting a Space Marine is Hattie's hands. Yeah, it's literally Hattie's hands because I don't have very nice hands because I do bite my nails and I do like play around.
Because we're nervous humans.
You are anxious humans.
I did some Twitch streaming on my lonesome when you guys were on holiday, and one of the comments was because I have like my super zoomed in lens. They were like, "Oh, the best cuticles in wargaming."
Do you actually have nice cuticles?
Well, I didn't think they were phenomenal, but I don't like chew my nails or like pick at them, I guess.
I really do.
It's a habit I've had, and it's not because I'm nervous. It's not because because I know loads of people have like different habits for chewing their nails. I used to see my dad do it when I was very young, and I just used to do it.
Oh, you just learned it?
I just learned it as a
wild.
habit. And I've been quite conscious because I've seen Charlie doing that with his fingers because he's not nervous. So I'm like, I need to not bite my nails as much around Charlie.
He's just doing it because he sees you do it.
I don't know if he doesn't do it as much as he did. He does it a lot less now. And me and Liz were constantly like, how quickly do your nails grow? Because you have to like use scissors. Sometimes I'm just like,
scissors.
Go up and bite them. But yeah, because he has like quite long fingernails because you constantly have to cut them down. But I'm glad, he's not biting his nails like he was a few times.
Yeah, I do. And they picked up on it. And I felt sad because I was like, because it's something, I think maybe they didn't mean it. Maybe they would have picked up on it if it was a boy as well. But a lot of the time when people are critiquing my work, it's about the way I look. And that maybe made me, when I started the job, be like, oh, I wouldn't mind if there weren't any faces or anything like that, because then it's all about the work.
People will be mean regardless. So you could be like the prettiest human in the world, but they'll find some flaw in like, oh, you've got a weird twitch or your eyes slightly
low. Oh, literally. I saw in the same vein people like, so remember when we did, what was it? Blackstone Fortress with Becca Scott.
When you were actually ill. And
we were all so sick that day. We were absolutely like downing strepsils. We were not well. Poor Becca Scott. But if you know Becca Scott, she's like the most stunning human in the world. She's like perfect, and she does yoga and all sorts of other unrelatable stuff. But I remember seeing like people commenting on like the Facebook, and they were like, her deviated septum is too far apart. She's a 4 out of 10, and I'm like,
deviated septum.
I don't even know what they were saying, but it's just bizarre, and it's this thing, and I want this to be very clear if there's any girls watching this, and if anyone's complaining about the way you look online, you're never going to be good enough for those people. Don't change yourself because you're fine. You don't have to prove yourself to these people. It's never going to be good enough.
And I also think they have a lot of insecurities with themselves while I guess they have to do it.
I can't imagine the kind of people it takes to sit behind a computer and say those things. I really struggle with it. I've Googled why do people bully before.
Look at me.
I can see you.
I look like a ball sack that's been in the bath way too long.
Peachy, no, you don't look like a ball sack.
I do. I am a shriveled egg. See, look, ball sack in the bath too long. Way too long.
He's nice.
So, but I don't go on the internet and tell people they look awful because I'm a nice human being.
We don't think that either. It's not like Peachy, and I want to make this very clear. I'm going to speak on behalf of Peachy. Peachy isn't looking at your profile pictures going, ugh, I wish I could say something. No.
And again, I think that chat that we had, we discussed some topics around this, but obviously it was kind of like two...
dudes,
like just dudes being bros,
being bros on the broadcast. I love that I'm on a broadcast right now.
Do you invest in crypto?
I actually, well, no.
What? Oh no! Oh yes, of course. The
trigger.
We need to talk about that.
Okay, lads. But carry on.
So there's a point I was going to make earlier as well, but I've completely forgotten it now.
It's fine.
This is the
sub-subject. Yes.
We talked about this sort of exactly this stuff as we are now, and I said, I've made videos on the internet and nobody's ever made a comment like on my appearance, and I was like,
great.
Well, no, because I was like, I assume that's because like I'm a guy and
nah, you're just hotter than us.
Thing. And then, but then like people commented and they were like, oh, your beard looks really great today. Oh, I really like your shirt. And everyone was like really nice.
So nice.
And I was like, oh, you guys are awesome. Like,
Stop it.
But then also it reaffirmed like they were being nice on purpose.
I don't know, maybe.
Because like our views are awesome. But like, I wouldn't have the skin for it.
Someone did post, because you did that lovely seminar with children, which was great.
Oh my God, that was so cute.
I think it was the Twitter post. There was a few. I mean, you get it, which is good, but it should be.
Maybe I didn't see this.
Oh no! Someone said you are a very beautiful woman.
Thank you.
So there you go.
Thank you, internet
Whoever it was
person.
that said that.
I mean,
there might have been a creep level of.
Oh, but it's fine. I call Patrick all the time. I'm like, great beard, you look great, and it's not creepy. It's fine.
It was funny because like with Pat Price, he like because there was two Patricks in the office.
Handsome Patrick.
And he was handsome Patrick.
Yes.
And then it was hilarious because I think Raph was on holiday and I was doing the behind the scenes like Twitch stuff.
Oh my God, I feel so bad about this.
No, because it made me laugh so much because it was like, oh, and Patrick's here, but it's not handsome Patrick.
I felt terrible. So I was on with handsome Patrick, and then I was like, oh, and Patrick's doing this, but it's not handsome Patrick, and I felt terrible. So that's where the phrase "radiant Patrick" came from, and now we have radiant Patrick and handsome
Pat Price
Patrick.
had done some live stream as well, hadn't he?
Yes, he had. I remember. Oh, he was great, and
you
definitely didn't punch someone.
No, definitely didn't punch no one.
I mean,
Who did? I want to know where this started because someone definitely punched
someone must have done. Yeah.
Maybe, or it just sounds fun, and then it becomes like the Chinese whispers, or
Maybe.
just like
I
basically
think
just
it
goes,
is,
this is the thing we want to say.
It's going to become the next Ring a Rosies. Like little children are going to sing songs in a little circle about how Peachy punched someone in the Games Workshop.
I know who I punched, and who punched
It was me.
Yeah.
I want to know too.
You won.
I mean, it was a flying drop kick.
Was it flying up?
From the top of Bugman's off the balcony, just pew.
Oh yeah, the people's elbow off the balcony.
People's elbow.
The people's elbow.
Yeah, that was the Rock's like finisher, wasn't it?
Yes.
He'd like
Wrestling.
he'd take off his elbow straps and then
I like that it's called the
nice.
people's elbow.
yeah.
Talking of live, we used to have fun on live, didn't we?
I had a great time. I'm so happy I'm here now. I've been a bit nervous about doing this because I get scared, and I don't know why, because I talk a lot that I'll accidentally say something. So I don't think I've put it off, but I get nervous a little bit. But I'm really happy to be here, and I really want to do more stuff with you guys in the future, and we should do live streaming because we both do Twitch now.
We do.
Yeah.
If the YouTube thugs do not know, we all do Twitch. The YouTube thugs. I can call them that. We all Twitch stream now, and we were always gonna be doing that, because we all really enjoyed it. Well, me and Peachy did. How are you enjoying it? Being actually
yeah, I really like
presenter.
it. Like
Did great on your own as well.
yeah, I was I think because I'm very much like the behind the scenes person, I guess.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah, it does get warm in here. I've opened the
It's fine.
the
Dave's still
window,
with
but
us, so it's
yeah,
not too bad.
Yeah, good.
It's chilled out.
But yeah, I think say if I'm streaming with Peachy, he's my safety net.
Well, this
'Cause
is
it's
it.
it's Peach.
I always streamed with Peach, and it was easy.
And then we got
And
separated.
then
So,
yeah, sorry.
it's okay. It's fine.
Was that your doing, was it?
Well, maybe.
Well, who knows?
Yeah, and then doing it on my own. I think I was like bricking it for ages, and then I hit live, and then it was fine.
Yeah.
So I have to. Well, because I'm a little solo project, I stream by myself, and I remember the first time I do it, I was like, I don't want to press the button. I don't want to press the button.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna press the button. I don't want to. And I didn't think I'd be able to do it without you. Sad.
You don't need me. You don't need
But
me.
apparently I can just talk.
Yeah. Yes.
Who would have thunk?
I mean, I knew you'd be great at live streaming on your own when I drove everybody down.
This story, yes.
To salute, and we left at early-ish.
Quite early,
I guess.
It was it 8:30, 9ish or something?
Yeah, so I mean, most normal people are at work by then, so it wasn't early at all. But I think the first thing you said was, "Oh, guys, I'm really tired.
I'm really sleepy. I'm just gonna have a nap."
I'm just going to sleep in the car for 2 hours." And then none of us got a word in edgeways.
And I was like, and then I did this, and then the paint pot just broke in my hand.
Yeah, it was the same. We went to GriffCon because we got. Thank you, Chris, for driving us down. Chris Chant from Exit 23. He drove
Love
us down.
ya.
Love him.
Love ya.
And Louise was like,
I'm
a bit sleepy. I might nap for an hour, and then it would be 10 minutes.
I'm preparing myself to be socially awkward because I'm always scared of doing things because I am quite socially awkward. So I'm like, I'm just gonna say if I don't talk, that's fine. And then I just end up being like, oh, I really like my friends. I really like my friends. And then I just like speak a lot, which is
set people's expectations low.
Yeah, exactly. And then just be a podcast in myself. So
we're fortunate. There's a few of us on the channel, and I'm used to having that group.
It's cool.
When I have done it on my own, I've actually had. I've always wanted it when I was on Warmer TV, because there's a few times when like a couple of presenters couldn't make it. I said,
or someone's ill at the last minute over COVID.
And it's like, oh, such and such can't join you tonight on live, so we're going to cancel. I was like, I'll do it on my own. And
they wouldn't let you.
We weren't trusted.
I don't know why. I think they just thought it wouldn't work. Like it would be a worse setting. And I remember, because I wasn't keen to do it because I was scared, but Peachy was very keen to be like, let me give it a crack.
Yeah.
And because most streamers
do it on their own.
Honestly, I was really scared. Yeah. I didn't know what I was going to do. And I know a lot of like painting Twitch people are just so chill.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Like they'll just sit there and they'll just paint with like music in the background.
Yeah.
And occasionally they'll look up and be like, oh, thanks for subscribing. Just using some Averland Sunset here. Yeah. And then they'll go back to it. And like, I want to be that person. But I don't think I know. I physically don't think I'm capable of it. I need to fill like the gap.
Yeah,
and I can't hear my own music when it's playing, because then it would distract me.
Yeah.
Because we haven't put music on ours.
You can have mine if you like.
She's got some great dungeons.
Oh yeah, you got you make all your own music, don't you?
Yeah, royalty free if you want it. A few other Twitch streamers use my music. Iron Warrior cosplay.
Oh yes,
uses it. We love him. Did you get him on the show? Have you had him on?
Oh yeah, we should.
Get a cosplayer on. Although here with like the big.
When we move offices, we'll probably get.
Have you told people about this?
Yeah, it's been mentioned a few times.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Ongoing saga of trying to get there.
Yeah,
I mean, we have a great venue, but you've seen where I work. It's in like a tiny little corner, and it gets very warm in there, and also very cold.
What I do like about Rob's area is it's like he lets out space, doesn't he?
Oh yeah,
which is really
the
clever.
TSN arena. Yeah. So I work in like a tiny cupboard in there, but the venue itself is huge. We have like events on all the time, which I love because I love going to events. So working there means I get like my event kick like every weekend, which is great.
Thanks for best painted on show.
You're right. It literally was the best painted.
We need to talk about this nepotism.
He's a good painter. That's his job.
I do there was some favoritism there.
I mean, you are my favorite, but you were also unfortunately the best painted as well.
Yeah, that's it. It's like, shock horror painting presenter who paints full time wins best painting
competition.
That's not a surprise, but I'm always going to poke fun.
I never used to enter competitions.
Yes.
Because of that alone.
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So if I
never even thought about that.
If I fail, it's bad because you failed. I thought you were like the best painting presenter around.
Yeah.
Who are you to teach us if you can't even?
Yeah. And then if you win, you didn't get it on your own merit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you do it.
I never thought about that. Now I'm paranoid. Oh no.
Yeah.
But that's one thing that I'm really enjoying now that we've left is going to events.
Yeah.
Because like when I joined Masterclass, I was like, oh, that's like one of the highlights. And I remember being in the interview being like, look, this is one of my favorite parts of the job. It's like going to events and doing all these things. And they were like, that's great. There'll be loads of that. There was none of it.
No, it got taken away, didn't it?
Or at least very little.
Yeah, like it was like Warhammer Fest, was it the one in Manchester?
I can't remember. Yes,
you were there and you were dressed up as a sister and stuff.
I loved Warhammer Fest. That was such good fun.
You went as non-Games Workshop.
Yeah. I just went as me and I had the best time ever, and it was so fun, and I got to do fun things.
Oh, I should know.
But loads of the staff weren't there, were they?
Yes, loads of the staff were what?
Loads of the was it? People would usually there. Heavy metal painters might be there. Writers,
loads.
But they're not there anymore.
Well,
is that right?
Some were. I think Fest was a little bit better.
Okay.
Like Lizzie was there doing seminars, and Ben was there. It was actually quite nice to see.
That's all Warmer TV stuff, not
I guess
as in like
so.
Studio people.
Oh, you mean that side of it?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Because they used to do it, right?
It was one of the big drawers. Like, so I did a video on this, and it was a really good video, I think, because
I remember that one. Yeah,
it was the one where I went to Warhammer Fest, and I just thought it would be like a travel vlog because I'm getting quite into doing travel vlogs and stuff. I want to do one for LARP, but it turned into a little bit of a thought piece where I compared like the map of this Warhammer Fest to one from like one that I remember really, really strongly, which was one in like 2017 or something. And the schedule was like, you know, when you go to a really good music festival and you're like, oh, I can't see Cradle of Filth because, I don't know, Deicide is on that stage, and you have to, it was like that. Like, it's like, oh, I can't go look at the airbrushing tutorial with all the like Forge World people because Phil Kelly's doing a seminar on this, and I also want to like enter Golden Demon and talk to those people. Like, it was hectic, it was full, but there was so much to do, and I wasn't a customer then, but when I had my lunch break, would act like a customer, and I would want to run around and talk to all these people, and it was so nice, and it, I think, added a lot of value to the event, because I think genuinely people want to see that. People want to talk to Phil Kelly and all these other people and anyone, and they want to meet new people as well, even if it's not like the, you know, the big names. They want to find out who the little names are and those kind of things, and I think it just adds a lot of value. And it seems, I don't know why they would take it away. Again, maybe it's a risk.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the
Well, I mean, for years the staff have always had like been held to a high sort of level of like, don't talk about stuff that's not released.
Don't mess it up.
And not a single staff member in all the years that I'm aware of has ever leaked anything
at an open day.
At an open day or a games day or a fest or anything like that. Not a single staff member has done it. Then all of a sudden they made a rule like, we don't trust you to do this.
Yeah, because I remember this, and I remember talking about it, and they were like, oh, we don't want to like risk, we want to protect our staff.
Protect the staff. And
B, not risk anything like happening, anyone saying something that gets put in like a news article. Like, again, it's a lot of fear. And because it's like, okay, so what happens if that does happen? They get fired. And like, that was already the case.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to be fired. And everyone, as far as I'm aware, was always very well behaved, really, really glad to be there. And it did feel in that case like a privilege, because you were chosen to go to the open day and it was really fun.
Yeah.
And you got to show your one day a year, you got to like stand next to your work and do the artist thing, which is like, I made this, which isn't egotistical.
No.
It's and I think
reward.
it's a reward. It's just nice. And I think non-arty people struggle with the concept of the desire for artists to put their picture on a fridge. They're like, oh, so you're showing off. It's just like, no,
but it's also that kind of like if you've created something, you put a lot of time invested in it, and then it goes away and you think, I hope people like that. Do I carry on with that kind of level of detail and this, that, and the other? Whereas if you go to like the fest and you hear all the positive feedback, and sometimes you get like negative feedback as well. You're like,
and that's fine.
Okay, so people didn't really like that. I wonder what it was about that. And as a creator, seeing like the reaction tells you it's like a morale boost, really.
Yeah.
And it knows you're on the right track. I've just remembered there was something leaked once at a fest, and that was me.
You leaked something at a fest?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It wasn't for a conversation. So it was when Primaris was becoming a thing.
Yeah.
And we had, it was the first box set that had Primaris and Dark Imperium. And you had the box set Dark Imperium, then there was like the starter set and then like the recruit sets. So there was like 3 different sets. And me and Steve were doing a seminar on painting, army painting. We were like, can we take some images from a book? There was 3 different books, right? And depending when these books came out, would have newer things in them. So I said, can I have access to the book that's relevant for this date with the imagery that I can use?
Yeah, so I'm only showing people things which are...
I was given that information by the product coordinator at the time, who I won't name. It wasn't Wade.
Importantly.
And it got sent to me. I was like, thank you very much. I put on a spreadsheet. I think they had a look at it. They were fine. And I went to Fest and there was the repulsor tank in the background.
Oh, no.
And loads of people clocked onto that in the seminar and took photos of the repulsor tank going, there's a new tank coming out.
But that's not your fault. I mean, technically you were the one to draw the curtain.
I got a slapped wrist when I got back to the office because the manager at the time, my manager was like, you've leaked this. It's going to have to be a letter of consent. I was like, that's fine.
Oh, really?
You know, it's my bad. There's that many, but the thing is, I was like, there is that many books coming out at the moment. I can't remember what's in what, and I did ask.
Yeah, I don't feel like that's the you fault.
Well, I
don't know
anyway, and I didn't get a letter of consent in the end.
Oh, good.
Just didn't do it. I think because he was just like, it's not really.
It's not worth it. Yeah. I remember the worst thing I got into trouble for at an open day is so it was a Horus Heresy Weekender, which was like my favorite event ever. It was in like a fancy hotel.
Crikey.
It was so good. No, it was like best event.
Not the recent.
No, not that. No. It used to be like every year there'd be a Horus Heresy Weekender, and it was great fun, and it was in a hotel. It was really fancy, and I have really like positive memories of it. And I was invited there to do a bit of painting. I think they just needed to fill a seat. I was doing like construction booklets at the time, so it's not like I could sit there and be like, do you want to learn about arrows and numbers? So I was just there to like fill a seat, and I was just doing some painting. I think I was painting some Eschers, which just got released. And I remember I was using, I can't remember what it was, but it was like a Vallejo paint. And I'd hidden it, or it was a Tamiya or something non-Games Workshop. Yeah. And you know how, I don't know how we came up with the term sparkle barkers, but it's basically like a bit of paper which has like your face, your name, and what you do. So people who are walking around are like, oh, you're a graphic designer. Can you tell me about the transfer sheets or something like that?
Okay.
So, but it's a bit of plastic, and I'd hidden my non-Games Workshop paints behind it. So that I could like sneak it out, put it on the palette, sneak it back, and then like be normal. And I remember, I don't know who the event photographer is, but they like got an angle like behind me of me painting, and you could just see all the non-Games Workshop paints. And they decided to put that one on the internet. And I got into trouble for that. So that's the worst thing I ever did at an open.
Because the photographer, they could have picture.
I heard some fun rumors about like how heavy metal back in the day used to use loads of other brands' paints.
Back in the day.
Back in.
Who's going to tell them?
So maybe they still do.
I think they do.
And then at those sort of like live painting things, they do
they cut the footage?
Put the GW paintbrush handles onto the tips of like a Winsor & Newton.
No,
like
surely
Series 7.
not.
They do,
That's so cheeky.
Like, I don't know. I can't speak as to how it's true or not.
No, there's all sorts of rumors, right? Like, I think my favorite one is one that I think Keith told me in Forge World, which I don't think it's a rumor. I think this is just a fact. That like when the sculptors used to sculpt with green stuff, like, so if you've ever used green stuff, you kind of have to keep it a little bit
wet.
Slippery,
yeah.
A little bit. And so like some of the methods were just like licking your fingers and doing it like that.
You put Vaseline on your tools
Vaseline,
and stuff,
normal, just normal things.
Oh, no.
Just having a normal one, right? And I think I was told like some of the common methods were crisp packet grease. And the grease from the side of the sculptor's nose.
Oh.
So.
Oh God! Don't touch them greens because they're full of greens.
Yeah, ew. So that's another fun rumor. We should do it. We should do an iceberg video of Games Workshop rumors, which is like the bottom, like Peachy stabbed someone at the Games Workshop.
Yeah. Every single person that left had a fight in the car park.
Literally.
Did you have a fight? Who did you fight?
You.
Oh, okay.
Do you not remember? I must have knocked you out.
Must have done.
He's repressed it already.
But yeah, Games Workshop rumors. I've heard. I'm trying to think of some more, but I've heard some absolute. It's the ones which were like, wait.
Oh, there's been many.
And then one of my favorite one is always when there's like a genuine leak. Yeah. They're like, Games Workshop planned this. I think this is a really good time to say,
So no,
they didn't.
We're not that clever.
No, we have
I guess when Kirith was on last week filming, we talked about the leaks and that kind of thing, and I remember one of the like in my first week or something, because the leaks are so frequent.
Oh, they are these days. They didn't used to be. I don't know what's going on.
People are like, they must be doing it themselves, but it's. I've been one story that I was going to say previously was my line manager was like, people think we do it, but we don't. Like something gets leaked and then loads of people have to work really hard to get a video or a picture out the door really quick. And I remember as well, I'd left at this point and I was chatting to the videographers in the product team.
Yeah.
And we were outside chatting on the benches like the good old days.
Oh, I love those benches.
And then he checks his phone and he was like, oh, Demon Princess just leaked. we better go and get some 360s of it. Yeah.
Literally, I can't remember what miniature leaked, but one of the videographers for Masterclass, and I won't say who, but they know who they are, had to come in at 7:00 in the morning to do all of the professional shots of the miniature because they hadn't planned it, right? Something leaked, and he had to come in at 7:00 and work his ass off to do all of this just in-depth, incredible product photography so they could do a proper reveal.
Yeah.
And then I remember that night the reveal happened and he was like, I did a really good job. And the comments, there was one comment that was like, isn't it suspicious that they already had all of this stuff available to them? And he was like, what's the point? What's the point?
I had a theory about this, right? And not about like the leaks, but about how you deal with the leaks, so people aren't coming in at weekends and doing the stuff, right?
Yeah.
So this is the reason why I wanted to have a dedicated photography studio, because
it's a good idea.
Marketing would get it at the end, because all these other departments were doing it at different points at time. But that stuff's been in the camera room for so long that everyone could have taken all the photography of all that at that point and then moved on with life, which is why you have a dedicated photography studio, because you do shots on white. You literally, let's say you have like the Space Marine Codex is dedicated to 2 photographers. You do all the Space Marine photography, you do all the 360s, you do some video 360s, and this is done like a year before people see it.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
so when there's a leak from a book, that footage is already there.
Yeah.
So people aren't having to come in at the weekend and do all this stuff.
Yeah,
because the marketing, am I right? When you say dedicated photography studio, was it
within marketing?
No.
Oh,
As in,
really?
like, you know, you get like a design studio and a hobby products.
Is photography not its own?
No. Photography is. I don't know if it's changed now, but when I was there,
is it just part of the main studio?
So you have photographers for books and box games. You have photographers for
Forge World.
miniatures and Forge World, and marketing and White Dwarf and
so
web.
there's not like a overarching.
So what I pitched, I know this is getting like really weird now.
No,
but
it's
I
not.
pitched to do a photography department, and because the example I gave was the Carriage and Overlords. That was if I did all the time up between all the staff doing it, because there was
individually.
There was 7 different times that the same model was shot on white at the same golden angle.
Yeah.
By 7 different departments,
Yes.
did their own version of that golden angle, which is same angle.
I remember this happening,
So I was like, if you got one person, like if I had like that guy on that project, that guy on that project, that guy on that project, and you got it all done, you'd save like 7 to 8 weeks of time.
Literally, because I remember a case of this was the Blood Bowl Troll, which had a bit of a tricky angle to photograph, and by the time it had gone through me, someone else in the marketing department, there was just like every other image was the troll at a different angle and stuff like that, which it clearly just got passed through. But that's a good idea.
But you if people change things and want the photographer changing, that's a cost.
Yeah.
And the reason why no one wanted to do it was because everyone had control of their own photographers, and they can make changes last minute because they couldn't plan. Or were struggling to plan, or sometimes screwed up the plan. And the problem was, that's why there was like so many photography departments, or so many photographers for different departments. It was because people were just a bit bad at planning. It's true.
Some manager.
No, it's true. Well, I'm not saying
no, it's good. It's good.
It's when I say bad at planning, a thing you commit to a range, and you start doing it. You have a workflow, and it goes from that department to that department to that department. Some ball brain somewhere in the chain suddenly goes, but I want this thing. And I want this thing now, which then knocks everyone else behind.
Oh, okay.
Whereas if that was a photography department, you go, you're an idiot.
You're getting these things.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do this in freelance now, so that's going to cost your department. No one wanted to do that because it would highlight their inability.
Yeah, and it means that everything's done in advance. But then maybe like where are the leaks coming from these days? Because like nobody knows. Nobody knows. I remember my favorite leak that happened was Magnus in a bin. It was the worst. Do you remember?
Oh, is that when Eddie jumps out the bin?
Yes, it's my favorite. It's my favorite one. So it was a horrible leak. Like it was sad. It was the first ever Demon Primarch to be released in 40K. Like the first Primarch to be released in 40K.
Yeah, I think
like
you're right, yeah.
it was a huge deal. Everyone was like, "This is going to blow everyone's minds." And the reveal for it was a torn up bit of packaging in a bin. Someone had opened up a bin, a confidential bin, just taken a picture of some torn up packaging for Magnus and posted it online. And it was so sad.
Yeah.
Like, in that case, I think it is a little bit.
And I think that's
sad.
Behind green locked gates as well, so it's got to be someone internal.
Well, this is it, because there's like nobody knows. Yeah. Like, I don't think anybody knows who leaks things, because
Valrak has his sources. He has 2 sources in the studio, apparently.
Really?
Is that brown and red?
Sauces.
Yeah. No, because he does give them names.
Does he?
And again,
does he openly say it?
No, like he
code names.
Yeah, he gives them code names.
Is it ketchup and HP.
I mean, if it isn't, then
It is now. I didn't know that. But
and G-Dubs know it's going on. No, they know.
Oh, wow, okay.
Because Valrak's always on it with his leaks. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I watch. But yeah, it's like nobody knows. There's loads of conspiracies. A lot of the time it comes from printers. Like printers get sent things and stuff like that.
You get hobbyists in those jobs as well, don't you? So
I don't know. Like it scares me. Like I remember when a leak would happen, and because I have this weird like guilt complex, I would be like, was it me accidentally?
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever had that. Really?
Every time, yeah. Because I'd be like, did I do anything wrong?
Yeah, literally. Like I would end up being like, how could it be our faults? But I would still be like, fear. Like, it is scary.
I remember someone in the battle report team got really annoyed because you'd get, if you needed a codex...
It was Patrick.
It wasn't Patrick.
So that could be any one of two people.
So this was standard in like the studio like 10 years ago when we were like doing like, not before Age of Sigmar, when we would do all kind of things like the end times, you'd get, if you needed a PDF printing out, it would have a watermark of your name across it.
Oh yes, of course.
So if anything got leaked, it would have your name on it. It was
traceable.
dedicated. It was traceable.
Oh, okay.
And that was normal, standard. And that started filtering into the battle report team, and a couple of them just kicked off because it's like, you don't trust me. It's like, no, it's just standard.
It's just normal.
It's just normal.
Because when you were, it was the first battle report that we ever filmed in the studio.
It was the first thing for Warhammer Plus we ever filmed, was the Orc battle report.
The Orc, and there was loads of references to the Orc toilet that I had to cut out. Because the higher ups didn't like it.
So if you've ever watched that episode of Battle Report for our viewers, it's the one with me and Patrick. It's one of the first ones we ever did. I think it's my Orcs versus Blood Angels, was it?
Orcs versus Blood Angels, yeah.
I think
it was the third release, but it was the first one we filmed.
We had the best time. Me and Patrick had like the funnest game because my whole secret mission was to like become the king of a toilet. And there was like a little bit of terrain on the board, and it was like a little outhouse. Yeah. So and I think there's some footage of my orc on top of it. And I was like, I'm the king of the toilet. These are my toilet peasants. And it was just like a bunch of little grots and stuff. And he was like, I'm going to fight you on that toilet. And we met each other like on top of the toilet and we battled it out. And it was like such a fun game. And they cut all the toilet. And I was like, what's left?
Do you know what was good about that battle report?
What?
Right. Was that reminded me of the 90s battle reports in White Dwarf, because that's the kind of
they're weird.
That's like the level of humour that you'd have, and that was like really nostalgic.
Yeah.
And I think was
Battle
such
for the toilet.
Because you had like all sorts of weird named things and stuff like that. But there was always that
all my characters are named and everything. Yeah.
So I spent weeks editing that, and then there was a line that I had to cut, and you, as you're pulling like the war boss off the toilet, you were like flushed by his own petard.
I remember flushed by his own petard. And maybe it's like, for the best, Patrick.
2 years later, and I'm like, lol.
Flushed by his own petard. But yeah, like, I don't know. I was like, because I remember you being like, toilet's gone. Like the higher ups, they've taken out time.
I had a feeling it would be, to be fair with that.
What, were you just watching us do it? Like,
no, because I watched it back. I was like, people upstairs aren't going to like that, are they?
No, I mean the folks upstairs. I remember
I liked it.
I liked it.
I was looking at a spreadsheet, and it was for an Age of Sigmar game, and I think like one of the presenters, I can't remember who, had said, "Oh, he's lofted his axe."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then one of the comments was, "I think you meant to said." I think you meant to say hefted.
Yeah.
Lofted is fine.
Yeah, because it lofted, and in the notes I just put the dictionary definition of lofted, and it was like
that's a bit passive aggressive of you, Pat.
And I was like, it's fine. Like we can't change it.
Yeah.
Like why for something so? Someone has said. He lifted it over his head, and you went. I think you meant to say
that's a slow work day.
He lifted it over his head.
Yeah,
that's a very slow work day of someone's. Yeah. I remember I wasn't not allowed. I think that's too harsh a term. But I was strongly discouraged from saying paint jobs.
Why?
Because they didn't like the word jobs. It made them feel all freaky inside.
Yeah, because jobs also happen with.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But
thanks for not putting your camera on for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
go.
There he
got
is.
there.
He's got
What
us.
job?
Didn't you also get told
Probably.
to stop referring to paint as the consistency of like full fat milk or something?
Thick milk.
Thick milk.
Thick milk.
I think it's because
Yeah.
I would only pronounce it like thick milk, and I think that is quite
Too ASMR
distressing.
for some
Yeah, it's a
people.
bit distressing. Also, what's the ferrule upset a few people? Like the brush. No, it's the side of your wet palette is called something which just.
Flange. That's true. Sorry, your plate's called a flange, isn't it?
I think it might be a flange. Just get your paint consistency, your paint job to the consistency of thick milk and avoid the flange, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
Yeah,
now.
actually will allow that. Yeah.
I mean, if it was all in one session, that
Yeah.
that would, and then I'd totally
I
get
think
it.
I tried to make it all in one session, probably,
Yeah.
knowing me.
I have to try to
It's like-
push it a bit.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think like the decisions, I don't like. It was frustrating as it was happening. Be like, oh, why are you making this?
Yeah.
But then you can go and set up your own thing and just make
But-
your own decisions.
yeah,
It's-
but
Well,
then-
this is it, and the decisions that we make are a bit goofy and a bit fun. And a
Yeah.
lot of the time, when I think back to that, because I've had a bit of distancing now, right? I'm like, I maybe was a little bit quirky. You know what I mean? Like maybe I am more suited because I've been asked this, especially when Masterclass the job got like put up again. I got a few people being like, "Hey, I'm thinking about applying for this job. Should I?" Right? And I'm
yeah.
not sure if you guys have got the same. And I'm like, the job itself, super fun. If you're okay with these rules, like you're not allowed to post, you're not allowed to talk about it, you don't really go to open days, you have to just like do the job and go home and switch off at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Right? Some people love that.
Yeah.
Some people
Yeah.
are perfect for that, and they will, like, I think a lot of the presenters right now, they're perfect and they're happy to do that.
Good.
Very good. I don't think I'm that type of person. I think I go home at the end of the night and I'm like, oh, I like Warhammer. Oh, what am I going to do tonight, which is Warhammer themed? And then I come to work and I bring that energy to work, and I don't really have that cut off. And I think that may not line up with... I remember being told to do things like stay in my lane and stuff, and I was like, why would you stay in a lane? That's lame. Why wouldn't you go outside of the lane and do more?
Rhymes with lame.
It does. Apparently, it's very similar. And why wouldn't, like, I didn't understand to turn it off and just let it be a job.
But also,
Yeah.
I think what you did was you weren't wrong, because you were like looking from like trying to make things better. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
You were always, like, trying to improve
Always, yeah.
and come up with cool
Yeah,
ideas and stuff.
and again, going back to the job descriptions and not putting how much money's on there,
Of
because they
course.
want passionate people.
Yeah.
Peachy, are you willing to tell people how much they paid the painters? Because I know the masterclass.
So I had been doing that job for 5 years.
You don't have to.
I will.
I think it's important. though.
I was a bit miffed. But I would say that you were worth the money.
Thank you.
Others weren't.
Well, people know how much people know how much. Well, thank you, Peachy. Going from you hate my face till it's worth the money.
Oh,
Gee.
did they put the salary on the masterclass job?
No, but gosh, I can't remember who it was.
You can ring up and ask and they have to
someone did
tell
a
you.
video where they applied for a masterclass. We'll put it. Can we put it there?
Wait,
who it
hang
was?
on, what time are we on?
But someone, and I'm so sorry for forgetting your name. But I'm really bad at names. Someone did a video where they applied for masterclass and they openly talked about how much they offered. And I think it was 31k. I believe.
Yes, somewhere on 33, somewhere on 31, depending on my experience. But I, at the time, was on 26, 27.
Peachy was at the company for how many years?
20. No, it would have been. No, it was only a year before. Yeah, so it would have been about 20, not 21.
And you were on 26k.
But it was better than the previous job, which was on 19.
Yes.
So I'd been.
So army painting.
Yeah, well, no, Army Painter Manager. So I
right.
was in retail, and the highest I got into retail was 14, and I was in retail for 7 years, and that was as a store manager.
Yeah.
14 as a store manager.
You know you're worth a lot more than that, Peachy. I feel like I need to say this now, but whilst you were working there, you were.
Well, I mean,
worth a lot more.
I enjoyed what I did, and I did it for the love.
Well, this is it,
Of
right?
what I
but
was doing, but
still, you have to.
In comparison to
children.
people out there, so I applied for the police at the time when I
Yeah.
moved from
didn't know
retail to studio. And I had two choices: paint toy soldiers for 16k, or get stabbed and spat on for 16k.
Don't love that for you.
And in the end, I was like, I'll go I'll go with Toy Soldiers. I've always wanted to do that first. So I went with Toy Soldiers and enjoyed it. And I was on that for many years. And it wasn't until like I was in management in the Army Painters that I was on 19. So I only got like a $3,000 pay rise in 12 years.
Did it match inflation?
I don't think so, no. I don't think so. And then, when we got to Masterclass, there were people that were already on the same wage that I was that were in the same job. That
Higher.
And then I was like, can I just say because I had a conversation with the manager, like, why are these people going to be on more than me?
Not that you didn't think we were worth that,
I didn't.
but Peachy
I
had been, I think that's quite...
But I was just like, because it makes me feel a little bit undervalued. It was like, well, if you want a pay rise, you need to apply for that job. And I was like, okay. So the only way I can get a pay rise is apply for a job I don't want.
I got told this in Games Workshop. I got told that one of the only ways to get like a good pay rise is just to switch job, which I think is why a lot of people do regularly switch jobs.
Something I found was loads of people had started in retail and then now they were a manager of this, that and the other.
Yeah. Well, people stay there for life. I think it's really important because there was a lot of discussions when that video came out about like that's not a bad amount of money. I was quite happy. I was quite happy being on 31 grand. It is a tough time right now with pay and stuff like that, and a lot of people were criticizing Games Workshop for that pay, and I think it's important to note that there are other people getting paid a lot less than that.
The thing that was my bugbear was once I'd been told I have to apply for Masterclass too, and I'm not a Masterclass painter, I'm a YouTube painter, and I was then asked to train people.
You trained me. I remember. Yeah, I was Peachy's little Padawan.
You didn't need much training, but there was other people that needed some presenter training.
You don't think I needed a lot of painting because maybe I acted more confident than I was, but I did.
Good
Peachy was I was a little Padawan. Peachy took me under his wing and taught me how to look at cameras and stuff like that. It was really good.
Like, did he ceremonially cut your braid off before you went into the studio to film your first video?
My brush and then I remember I used to have this thing because some presenters, and all presenters are different, some like less people in the room, like if the room's empty they present better. I'm the opposite. So I remember on bad presenting days I would request the emotional support Peach and I would get Peachy just to sit in the room and I just present better, which is great.
I used to be like that,
really,
with having less people in the room, and I realised that's really bad.
What, to present with less people?
Yes,
really?
Because later on, you'll have to get used to more people being in the room.
That's true.
And when I did that Andy Serkis thing, I'm so glad I pushed myself out.
You were so good at that.
So I got told I was going on to this Andy Serkis thing. And
Do they know what it is? Have you talked about this before? Tell them from scratch. Tell them from scratch.
So I was asked by my line manager, was like, oh, we're doing an interview with Andy Serkis because he's voiced a character in the Chaos Gate game, a Grey Knight character, forget the character's name, and it was like, we're going to go and have a chat to him, would you like to come down, because we want you to do a painting session with him. When it was pitched, I was like, yeah, that sounds cool, I'm up for that. Apparently I wasn't overly enthusiastic and like sort of like fanboy enough. And they're like, are you sure you want to go, because you don't seem super... I was like, of course I'm happy.
Well, this is it, because if you were overly enthusiastic, they'd probably be like, oh, he's being a bit weird about this. Yeah, so good for you.
But I was just like internally very excited. Externally, I was just a bit more like, cool. Yeah, I'll play it cool.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to seem weirdly fanboyish about it. You want to be a professional.
But I just thought we were going to teach him how to paint, and we ended up being that a bloke was interviewing him, and all really nice people. So he was being interviewed about the game and his career, and I was teaching them both to paint at the same time, so it was all being filmed. But in that room was about 30 people.
Oh wow!
I didn't know that.
Oh my god, it was full of people, and I'm so glad I'd like pushed myself out of my comfort zone to have more than one person.
Well, you've done seminars, right?
Well, I've done seminars, but when you're filming and the red light goes on and you kind of freeze up, and my first month or two, it was just me and Dermot, and if like Duncan was in there, I'd get a bit sort of like self-conscious.
Sassy, yeah.
But I worked through it, and a couple of the presenters didn't like other people being in the room, and I was like, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to get used to it. And I know you don't like it, it feels uncomfortable, but the more you do it, the less uncomfortable it becomes.
I'm glad I did, because like I still got a little bit scared when I had to teach like a room full of kids how to paint goblins.
Which was great. I love the pictures of like some of the stuff that people are painting.
I have a present for you.
I hope it's another goblin.
It is.
Because it's going to get turned into a Troggoth.
It's a goblin! This is also a present for you, but I wonder who's going to be painting it. There you go, Pete.
So you have given me one of these. So this can be for Pat.
Yay!
So Pat can paint this.
Well, because you have like a pre-production special, don't you? Is that right?
You do. I think I just, whenever someone comes to to the venue, I'm like, do you want a goblin? Do you want a wee goblin? But there you go. This is you get all the packaging and stuff.
The packaging and everything, yeah. I mean,
and it's like our special resin.
Yeah.
So we stress test like the poop out of this because I didn't think about. Do you like my grass?
I love your grass.
I like the grass too. Let's play with this for a little bit. Yeah. But I didn't think about this. But we gave our goblins to like a room full of 5-year-olds. Not a single breakage.
Amazing.
And for a 3D print.
Especially the little, is it a frog at the end?
He's a wiggly boy.
Yeah. I don't know if you want a timestamp for a close-up of this.
I'm going to have to. Timestamp for a close-up.
I've got a Cruel Boys, what they called?
Troggoth?
Not Troggoth. Oh my God, I should know the name. Hobgrot Slitters. I've done a Warcry warband of Hobgrot Slitters being led by a Cruel Boy. And someone said, get rid of 3 Hobgrot Slitters because you can and buy a Troggoth. And I can't justify buying a whole box of Troggoths just for one.
You can be your Rogue Hobbies influencer now.
Yes, he's
so there you go.
My Troggoth for my Hobgrot Slitters.
Yay!
And I shall call him
Trugs.
Trugs.
Like Suggs.
Trugs. Oh, I'm just going to call him Suggs. Slugs.
It's me.
Slugs.
It's me.
You're dead.
I thought that would be nice.
Does
for
it?
you guys.
I know you've done a video on making this and all that sort of stuff. But like now that it's boxed and you give it to people and it's got your logo on.
Weird.
Yeah,
it's real weird. The whole thing, if I can talk about it for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
The whole thing has been real strange. The whole process has been on. So it started off as like a little drawing that I did because I draw goblins occasionally.
Of course.
And then my friend Tom was like, shall we sculpt it? Because he likes sculpting. He's fantastic. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then I was like, oh, I'll just give them away on the STLs, the printable files on my Patreon, because it's like a nice little added bonus and stuff. So we've done a few. And then I just decided, because I used to do this, if you've seen the video I used to do this in Forge World, and I really enjoyed it. I used to do the packaging design and the layout and the photography, and I loved that job. It seems like a really silly job to love.
Like you're very good at it.
Well, thank you. But I genuinely, like, I was so happy in that job, and I say that many times. So I was like, I kind of miss my job. I guess I'll just do it again.
Yeah.
So I just decided to do a video where I was just going to make one. Right? I was just going to make one box and it would be like, hee, this is a fun little project. And then everyone's like,
can I buy it?
Give me my goblin.
Yeah.
Give me that little man.
Yeah.
Give me the little goblin. And I was like, oh, well, okay, I guess I can work very hard to make like a limited run of 50, right?
Yeah.
They sold out in 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That's pretty good.
Worse than Games Workshop, honestly. I can no longer talk anymore. But it's really good, but also...
Yeah,
I'm going to be making more.
Yes, I do like this bit here. RH001, which is, I'd like to say, is a code similar to RTB001.
You got it. Yeah, which is Rogue Trader.
Which was the first Marines.
People have started calling him RH001, which is a weirdly robotic name for a very delightful little grassy man.
Or we could call him Rule.
Is he?
Ruh-oh.
I'm assuming the answer is yes. You can see his butt, can't you?
Yeah. There's a whole article about it on the internet. There's a whole article about my goblin's butt looking like John Lennon's butt on the internet.
Is it?
Yeah, people go crazy for his butt.
John Lennon's
butt. John Lennon has a weirdly long butt. Anyway, the more you know.
I think I'd hear today.
But so we're going to be making more, and they're just going to be available on general sale.
That's amazing. I'm so pleased for you as well that you're just doing like
it's crazy, isn't it?
Art, making cool goblins that you love, painting them.
It's the whole shebang. I just need to learn how to sculpt. It's the last thing, but then Tom wouldn't be able to sculpt them. He's a better sculptor than me, so we'll let Tom continue to do that for us. But it's been. I just never. One of the things I never thought I'd be doing when I left is becoming a miniature manufacturer too.
Yeah.
But there's like a whole little subsection in my Discord now, which I love. I love my Discord, which is like, for the hobbies and whips section, it's just people painting my goblins. And that is so cool. That's insane. Like, I hadn't thought about that step. I've been like, oh, cool, it's so cool that I've got my own product. And then I'm like, oh, people are going to paint it. I think someone's making a tutorial on it right now.
Oh, well, I'm going to paint mine so it's like naked flesh. Well,
you are an influencer now.
Oh, God. Great clean one.
The great clean one.
Paint like that. It tie in with the rest of my hobgrots, so it's just going to make it look really gross.
Yeah.
And give him like white milky eyes like the rest of God.
Disgusting. I love it. Thank you, Peach. It makes me really happy.
Thick white milky
Looks
eyes.
like a bloated corpse with thick white milk flanges.
Already hot in here. I hate all of you. I regret coming on this podcast.
Good, that's what we want from all our guests. Regret.
Deep regret.
Yeah.
He's so cute. I love him.
He is a cutie.
I bet Liz will be like, can I paint one?
She can. If she wants one too, she can have one.
I have the, if you don't
And
mind.
Charlie can have one too.
Charlie does love goblins. We've got your colouring in pictures that he's been colouring in.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, good. Well, let me know if you want any more.
Give it a name, and I can't remember what it was. It was something really bland.
I remember you telling me the name.
It was really bland but funny. I think it was like fish.
I love that.
I think you called it fish.
So when I was teaching the kids, part of like the learning thing that I did for them, and I think I smashed this because it's really hard to teach kids how to paint Warhammer, because what you get is you get a tiny little space marine, and then they end up doing it and it doesn't look like it does on the box. They get frustrated, and then how can a 5-year-old, because the age range I was teaching was like 5 to 7. Like they can't be expected to do that. So what I did was I phrased it as like learning how to tell stories with colours. And I just said, if you've got a green goblin, what does it make you think of? And they were like, grass. And I'm like, that's very good. If you get a red one, it's a lava goblin. I'm like, you can tell stories with colours. And then I just gave them a miniature, gave them a paintbrush and a bunch of paints. And I said, to make a story up for your goblin and paint it like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't teach him how to hold a brush. I didn't teach him how to like take paint out the pot. I didn't teach him how to like thin their paints. There was no barrier for entry as far as technical ability goes, and they all smashed it.
And I guess as well, they loved it because they're getting engaged, because they're telling a story.
Well, this is it.
Yeah.
Their stories were incredible. I gave them a colouring sheet as well first, so they could like practice and then do it on the miniature. And there was like there was a goblin from the lava world, which was like the fish was like red, and I was like, oh, what does the fish eat? And the kid was like, lava.
Nice.
And I was like, that's cool. There was a goblin from like the Twilight world, which was like made of like purples and stuff. And then there was this little girl who was amazing. And I was going around, I was like, oh, so what's going on with your fish? And she's just like, it's sitting in a pool of blood. I was like, oh yeah, it could still be alive. It could just be. She's like, no, it's dead.
Is he a hema-goblin? Oh, the audience dies.
But yeah, it was.
I enjoyed that one.
Why you like this? That's my band name.
Puns on hemoglobin. Like
that's niche.
Yeah,
that's niche.
Niche.
Yeah,
but it was really cool to see the kids absolutely just smash the concept.
I do think there's something because I've done this with Charlie. Well, I've tried to avoid like going, don't dip you all into the feral. Don't.
You've got to just sacrifice some brushes.
Just let him enjoy getting paint on the brush, and like doesn't matter which paint's on the brush.
Yeah.
And if he wants to like put yellow on, because I've got loads of like star paints, and then he wants to dip that yellow into the orange and get orange on it. And
this is it. You have to. You got to sacrifice a brush.
Yeah, and several paints it would appear.
Yeah. Well, this is it.
Well, you just give them all the special paints you've got. It's fine.
That's what I did.
I have quite a lot.
Element Games were kind enough to like sponsor the event and send us some paints, so thank you to them.
Nice.
But it was I think it was the best way I've ever taught a kid how to paint, because they didn't feel put off. They weren't like, oh, am I doing it wrong? Oh, am I doing this? Oh, I have to actually like. Just I didn't explain what the brush was. They've all held a brush before.
Yeah.
I just said color it in.
Yeah.
And they all just did great.
Really good. Yeah, really good.
Yeah. And I feel really proud about that.
Yeah, you should
because I'd love to do more kid stuff in the future.
That's something we talked about as well, didn't we?
Yes, it is. It is something we talked about. I think
being a dad, I love like getting my kid involved playing games and painting. Doesn't do as much painting. Definitely does a lot of playing. So
that's cute. Yeah. I really want to get involved with that, and I think these are good miniatures for that because they're big and they don't break easy, which is surprising.
Yeah, they're big and they're fun. Lovely. Right, Patreon question time. Ooh. Are you ready?
I'm never ready, but I am here.
Okay, great.
Let's go.
So I always preface this by saying we're a bit silly, and therefore so are our patrons.
Because they're amazing.
Thanks,
so
guys.
we're just going to go straight in with the first question from Jack. What are you having for dinner?
Oh, well, you see, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I'm going freaking LARPing tomorrow, and I'm very excited. So I'm going to be extremely busy tonight packing. So I'm probably gonna get a salad when I go home, because I love a salad, and then I'll probably just end up having like leftovers or something whilst I'm packing at like 9 o'clock at night. But let's say a nice salad, because that's what I'm going to have for lunch. Well, I am Ferundus Embercast, and my character is in a nation called Navarre, which are all very tree-dwelling, druidy looking sort of people. I'll be posting lots of pictures of my character later, because my main like enjoyment of LARP is the costuming element and making all my costume and stuff. So that's going to be fun. Anyway, probably a salad.
Excellent. Scott asks, what is currently your favourite paint range?
Oh, okay. Currently pro acryl, because I mentioned this earlier. I really like the matte finish. I did my cloth goblin tutorial recently, and I used, I think, like 90% pro acryl.
Oh, wow.
Because now we have freedom. I just wanted to like play around with a paint range, and I loved it. I thought it was great. Watercolors obviously have their nostalgia range, which is great. I still really like Citadel. I want to get into AK. There's so many paint ranges.
Yeah.
Turbo Dork as well. I really want to play
insane.
around with. But currently it's pro acryl.
Excellent.
Sponsor me.
I'm sure they will.
Thank you.
Daniel asks, does Burger talk to you?
Yes.
Who is Burger?
He's from I think he's from Venezuela though.
Oh, is Burger on your live stream?
Yeah. He's a little burger.
Is it a jellycat?
He's a jellycat,
Yeah.
but I checked his tag because I wanted to do like a cultural celebration of where he's from, and for like, you know, for work and stuff like that, you know, like, oh, let's do like Scotland Day at Games Workshop and have haggis, and I think he's from Venezuela. Okay. So yeah, but he has an accent.
Would that be chocolate? Chocolate
I don't
and
know.
coffee?
Yeah, maybe. Well, not a burger, because then that would be cannibalism.
Maybe. I don't know.
But like, but yeah, he does. Thank you for the
Are
question.
there your burgers in Venezuela? I did not know that.
Second question, which tea is your favourite? If you drink tea.
I like a PG Tips. I do. Oh. Sorry, you're
cut to pieces close up to catch the disdain.
I mean, I named myself Peachy Tips.
You literally did. But the way I like my tea, I'm a decaf lassie, because if I have caffeine, I become, you know, like how mice have the resting heart rate of like a billion. That's me. So if I have caffeine, I'll die. So I like a decaf. I like a PG Tips, because they do one called the Tasty Decaf, which is very tasty. Okay. And I like it with lots of sugar and milk.
Excellent.
Fantastic question.
Yeah, brilliant. Scott asks, what is your favourite breakfast food?
Ooh, it's haggis. So you have, it is. When I have breakfast in Scotland, it's always, I have to have like haggis on the side, which is a breakfast food.
Yeah.
But currently, yes, yeah. It's served at breakfast and it's delicious. Right now, I'm really into buttered toast and scrambled eggs.
Oh, good shout.
But cereal is just the best food in the world at any time of day.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed, I try not to have it too frequently because I don't want to get a heart attack or, you know, bowel cancer.
Yeah.
Is smoked streaky bacon in scrambled egg on toast.
Oh, that is decadent.
That's really good.
That is decadent. Yeah. I like a sourdough with like a little bit of salted butter and
toast
nice
that's
creamy
like
scrambled egg.
Offensively difficult to cut.
Yeah, love that. It's hard on my teeth.
Okay, serious question.
Oh,
Andrew.
Surname
is harrowing.
No, well, we're going to find out.
Well,
question.
Yeah.
Here we go.
How many goblins can you fit in an Olympic-sized swimming pool?
I'm going to say one really big goblin.
Yeah.
Just one
Goblin King.
massive David Bowie, just in a swimming. That's all you need. The answer to
I was
that.
thinking of the Hobbit Goblin King, not David Bowie, but yeah.
No, the down to Goblin Town big guy on a toilet.
Yeah.
I choose my man. I'm going with David Bowie in a swimming pool. I'm not saying that's why I like him, but if I had to fit goblins in a swimming pool, it would be one David Bowie.
Can I have a question?
Yes.
How many goblins can you fit in David Bowie's codpiece?
Literally, probably 500 is huge. It's honestly, in fact, I reckon that's what is in there. Good to know. Good question. Thank you. That was harrowing.
Yes.
For all.
Okay. We've had another paint question, so unfortunately I'll skip over that one because it's very similar. What's your favourite paint? Or do you have any specific colours that you're like, love that one?
I use the light yellow to do everything. So Dorn Yellow used to be like my favorite
so
paint.
It's like ice yellow, isn't it?
Something
It's
like that in
the-
Pro Acryl.
Yeah.
But I use yellow, light yellow for everything. I use it to mix, to highlight, and to do, so probably that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very good check. Because it's a good. I remember someone saying like, "Oh, if you want to make something brighter, don't put
probably
white in it. Put yellow in it."
Yeah. I use it for everything.
Fantastic. What would be one classic GW model you'd love to be re-released with an updated sculpt?
The original Pink Horrors. The Pink Horrors, which were the ones that were like literally, they were very zinchy. They just like opened up and like split apart, and then like more Pink Horrors would come out of them. You really gotta like look at the sculpts; they're incredible. And I think that kind of like very zinchy sort of like thing could be captured beautifully with a new sculpt.
Storm of Chaos ones that were like puking up them, or are we talking like the old
No, the old ones
classic?
were the classic ones where they were like ripping apart, and then like blue horrors were coming out. I think that would be. I think that would look
And they
great.
had all names as well, didn't
Yeah,
they?
they did. Everything had a name back then.
Yeah, it's great.
So appropriate, given the Goblin conversations and cod pieces. Andy asks, how many times have you watched Labyrinth?
Too many. I can like, it's one of those movies I can like watch along, but I have to be in a very, when it comes to like my favorite movies, I have to be in a very specific mood. I can't just watch them anytime. Like I remember one time my friend tried to put on Lord of the Rings just casually, and I'm like, we don't do that here. we don't just watch the extended, and it wasn't even the extended edition. They were just like, oh, can we just pop it on in the background? I was like, you do not do Sam Gamwise. Samwise Gamgee, Samwise, you do not do him dirty like that. Like my boy deserves your patience and to get his name correct, apparently. But so a lot of the time, but I cannot just pop it on randomly. I have to dedicate my time to it.
This is going to trigger you, much like when I mentioned the TV show Sharp, and people are like, "What's Sharp? What is Sharp?"
I think I've heard of it.
Do you not? No, you've not heard of Sharp.
I think I probably have to make
It's
things easier right now.
Sean Bean. Sean Bean is
Oh, it's part of the Sean Bean verse.
So
Okay.
I once, me and Steve were sat down painting armies in the army painting team one day, and when Duncan was there, and I was saying to Steve, like, this is very like Labyrinth-esque, like it was a building we're building or something like that.
Yeah.
And Duncan turned around and said, "What's Labyrinth?" And I still think to this
What's
day,
Labyrinth,
he's
precious?
he never watched the film Labyrinth.
So I have this
Chuck
thing.
it in the comments, Duncan, if you're watching. If you haven't.
I like that this has just become the Duncan shaming until he comes on the show. Just like, we'll keep bullying him until he comes on the show. I am against movie shaming. I remember there was someone in culture shaming, I call it. It's like there was someone in Forge World, and I remember
Have you not seen this? How
yeah,
dare you?
literally. But it was an egregious crime. It was an extreme test of this. You'd never seen Lord of the Rings.
Ooh.
I know. Exactly. And I remember she just looked really sad, and she didn't look like she was excited to watch it. She just looked sad.
Yeah,
That people had gone,
yeah.
"Oh, I can't believe you've never seen this."
Yeah.
And she probably got put off watching it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't like, because I've not seen a lot of I've never seen iRobot.
Yeah,
There you go.
I've never watched The Godfather or Godfather 2 or anything
I
like
don't
that.
think I've seen The Godfather 2.
Yeah.
What about you, Peachy? What's a piece of media you feel everyone's seen but you haven't?
Power Rangers?
Okay.
I've never watched the
Yeah.
Power Rangers.
I think
A lot
I've
of people
watched-
gone about Power Rangers. And
Charlie would
Pokemon.
love Power
Pokemon as well.
Rangers.
Not. I skipped both Power Rangers and Pokemon.
I
Yeah.
think that's fair. Power Rangers I've never really watched.
Pokemon, I think, was very. That was when I was a kid. That was like
Same.
the new thing. So maybe you were just slightly,
So I'm
slightly
aware
too
of
old and
Pikachu.
missed it. Yeah.
I'm aware of the work of Pikachu.
I'm aware of his work. It's very good. And when it comes to Power Rangers, I know there's like Rangers and they have power and they're in different colours. And sometimes
Yeah.
they can transmogrify into a giant like dino beast.
You've pretty much nailed it.
Yeah.
That's all there
Yeah,
is
it's
to it.
pretty much-
Okay, great.
I mean,
And they
it's
tend to do that
Yeah.
a lot. You know,
it's morphing
Gang
time.
symbols.
Morphing
It's,
time,
it's Morbin time.
so
But yeah,
that's my
yeah,
knowledge.
good question. Many times.
Excellent. This question is slightly more unhinged.
Okay.
Hey Louise, I have a young daughter who is looking forward to her first miniature kit when she gets older. What colour paint do you recommend me mixing into her food and drink to give her an edge when it comes to painting?
Dorn Yellow. Dorn Yellow. It's a great edge
It
paint.
tastes alright as well.
And it's not bad tasting either. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
Don't-
I thought that was going in a completely different direction. Yeah.
So did
Yeah.
I. Yeah. Don't give them AK metallics because they taste gross.
No, they
I don't think you're supposed to lick any AK paints, are you?
Well, unfortunately, I do.
Oh, Peachy.
I
It's
d-
been
I-
good knowing you.
I've lost my hair.
Yeah.
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 He had a
That was-
full head of hair before he started. Yeah. What is your favourite goblin model out of any miniature range?
Oh, I really like the fungoid cave shaman. It's one of my favorites. I painted it when I was very sick and in a fever dream, and I don't know if that, changes anything, but I remember having the best fun. It was like the first goblin miniature that came out that was like properly mushroom themed. It was before like the Gobapalooza, just before Gobapalooza came out. And it was just such good fun to paint. It was a great size. It came with a little squig. It was everything I've ever wanted.
Because the top of his head is just a mushroom, isn't it?
It's just a massive mushroom. So probably the fungoid cave shaman. I might just paint up another one at some point.
What was the character's name? Because each of those, because the malign portent set, he had a name.
Did he?
Yeah, they all had names because there was.
Did
oh no, I should know them all.
I just remember Sloppity Bile Piper, who came out.
Sloppity Bile Piper's a great name.
I remember all the Looncourt all has the names, and if we were a bit closer to like understanding the range, I'd get you to name them all because I can't remember, because there's like Spiker.
I don't know.
I can't remember. That was an old thing. I used to know all the names of the Gobapalooza, but I don't anymore. I don't know. Either way, Fungoid Cave Shaman. He's my fave.
Yeah, fantastic.
Nice.
I need to ask you a question to make sure this one's relevant.
Okay.
Have you ever spent any time in Scunthorpe?
Yes, that's where the art gallery is that I'm doing the documentary and stuff with.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, yes. So Calvin asks, how did you find the mess of my hometown, Scunthorpe?
So the art gallery, which we're doing the 2021 Art in Miniature exhibition and accompanying documentary, which Peachy is in.
Well, my models are in.
I've seen it. It's great. It's really good. They look fantastic. Is held in Scunthorpe. And the art gallery is like, apparently I got taken there. And they were like, this is a nice part of Scunthorpe. Do not leave this circle. And I was like, I'm going to leave this circle. So I went for a little walk around to try and find some like food. And I was like, oh, there's no Games Workshop here. Oh, it was sunny, and I was in a nice hotel.
Yeah.
There we go.
Was that the circle? Was just
yes.
A nice hotel?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's lovely. I'm sure it's just whenever I say I'm there and people haven't heard the name, the Americans are like, you're lying. That's not a real place. And I'm like, it is. There's some worse names in Scotland.
Like Edinburgh.
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 Asked directions to Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
Nice.
And Luga Baruga.
Luga Baruga.
Yeah.
I love Luga Baruga.
Oh, you mean Loughborough?
Loughborough. Anyway.
Gloucestershire.
Gloucestershire?
Yeah. That's how posh people say Gloucestershire.
I like Gloucestershire.
Gloucestershire.
That makes me very happy.
Yeah, very good. Not a question. All my power swords are now prismatic! Exclamation mark. Thank you, and keep it up.
Thank you. I will.
Someone else talking about Scunthorpe.
Yep. Put it on the map.
Yeah. If Rainbow Warriors got their own sub-faction akin to the Black Templars and Dark Angels, what should their chapter master be called?
Oh, Peter Prism.
Peter Prism.
Peter Prism. I don't know.
Yeah.
Prisam. Like Sam.
Yeah.
Sam.
Is there a Greenpeace pun in there somewhere? I don't know.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Prisam. Okay, done.
Yeah.
That was a really good one to just pull out the bag and surprise me with there, Patrick. Thank you. Really.
Yeah, no worries.
There'll be more.
There we go. Pete asks, what do you miss most from your time working at Games Workshop, other than working with Peachy, obviously?
Just everyone else. Genuinely, I know we talk about Games Workshop a lot on the channel, and I think it's really, you guys do. I think it's important too, because people are into Warhammer. Warhammer is popular, and it was formative to us. And we talk about it because we loved it. I think
I do.
we're
still do it,
and I think it's the same with people who talk about like rules balances and stuff like that. We talk about our time at Games Workshop because it was important to us, and I'm grateful for that. I would say, I know you probably go.
It was at least half of my life was spent at Games Workshop.
Exactly.
So I'm 43. I was there for 21 years. So that is quite a big part of my life.
Yeah, and I know. Like sometimes the conversation goes into like the bad stuff that happens.
It's easy to do that.
It is because we're all still trauma dumping a little bit, and I think it's important for us to do that. But honestly, like it's really important to know that I loved my time at Games Workshop. Like it's hard when I hear questions like that, to pinpoint one thing. Obviously, loved working with Peachy, but I loved working with everyone else as well.
Forge World sounds amazing.
Yeah, Forge World was great. There's very, like, retrospectively, the bad things that happened they always seem like bigger than they actually are. But 90% of my time there was absolutely just sunshine and roses. I do miss it there. I don't regret leaving. I love what I do now, but I do miss the place. I think you probably feel the same.
Yeah, a few people asked me, like, do you miss it? And I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
They were like, would you have done anything different? I was like, I probably would have left a year earlier.
Wow, really? Yeah, same.
But not because it would have got me out of that sort of, because I was in a bit of a place anyway.
Yeah.
But, I would have still done the same way I left, which is like give people notice of me notice.
And yeah.
Try
politely.
and conduct myself as well as possible. But
And it is like I said, we talk about the bad things because it's things we want to be addressed. We look there and we see we're worried people are going to suffer in the same way we did, and we want things to be better, which is why only hands, stop talk about it. It's because we care.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to talk about that stuff. Sometimes I catch myself going a little bit too far and I have to pull back. But I always make it very clear that I genuinely loved my time there, and I think it's a great company full of great people.
It's not unique that to Games Workshop that people go there, have passion for what they do, get there, sometimes clash with the management
or something,
or are mistreated. That happens in every job.
Yes.
And people leave every job.
And it's important to talk about these things.
And it's important to talk about it. Some people seem to think because it's Games Workshop, it's like you're either a simp or a hater.
Still loving you using these words.
Vibes. So it's like almost like if you do talk about it in any way, capacity, and I'd like to think we're 80% positive about Workshop on this channel.
I'm probably way more, but and even then I still feel that little pang of guilt when I say anything bad and stuff, but I'm like, no, these are really important. It's important to openly talk about how much people are getting paid in relation to inflation. It's important to talk about things like Games Workshop doesn't have a union and things like that for its workers, and it's important to have a laugh about things that were hard. I think we love it. We still, I miss it there. So everything.
The job wasn't hard. Some people just made it really hard.
Exactly. And that's the same in any job. That's not exclusive to Games Workshop.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's just
and people leave other jobs all the time and go to better.
People leave managers, not jobs. I think you told me that. Yeah.
That's a classic Peachyism.
It's a classic
Peachyism. It's true. It's true. I mean, my wife, says the same about some of the situations that her friends have had at her work, and sometimes they're just like, it's not the job. They love the job. It's sometimes whoever they're working for or whatever that's causing them.
And maybe I just wasn't right for that role. Like I said, some people may have loved it.
Yeah.
But
a bunch of stuff.
I do miss them very much.
So warm.
It is toasty.
Yeah,
I'm so glad. I don't know if we're going to cut that, but I did ask to go to the toilet. So we've had a little break where we got some more water. I didn't say that.
What about me? I'm so sweaty.
I need to wipe my booty.
My booties are getting sweaty.
Well, that was the next question.
Seeing this Louise, I can do my Louise impression. Hey, I'm Louise Sugden.
I'm from Glasgow. This is exactly what I sound like. It's uncanny.
It is.
And you're from Aberdeen?
I am from Edinburgh ways. I went to uni in Aberdeen up in all over Scotland.
Yeah. And Robert asks, how did you get into LARPing?
How to get into LARPing? Okay, I was recounting this tale in my head because I talked to myself as much as I talked to you guys. It's really good fun. Last night. And I remember I was in Forge World and there was this lovely lady called Lise. And I remember, you probably remember Lise, yeah. And she went LARPing. I always thought she was really cool because she would I've always been LARP curious. I remember being young and I knew people in Canada and stuff who went LARPing, and I was always really jealous of them. And I lived in the middle of nowhere in Scotland and there was no LARP events, and I didn't know anyone because I was quite an introverted teenager. I didn't have any friends that went LARPing and stuff like that. And so when I moved here and I saw Lise doing it, I remember me and my friend Bax were like, hey, we want to slice the pie. We want to try out LARPing. And she was like, are you sure, kids? Because we were young.
Yeah.
And we were like, yeah, we really want to try it. We want to just try it out. And I went, and my kit was terrible. It was very basic. I want to do a fun video where I show the timeline of my kit. And I just loved it. and it was great fun. And I've just gone every year since then, which is great. But yeah, it was just because I saw my friend do it and we were like, we're coming with you. You don't get a choice.
I would say I'm very LARP curious. I've done
You should
D&D.
come.
I'd love to come. I've done like reenactment and stuff, and I like hitting people with like steel.
Lightning bolts.
But I want to chuck tennis balls at people and shout lightning bolts.
Yeah, you should come with us. Dude, you should come with us next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yay! I mean, I'm all about it.
All your friends are going as well.
Because people were like, well, what have you got? I was like, well, I've got a suit of armour.
Done. Easy. Well, you should go in the winter one because, like, well, if you guys are aware of the weather right now at home, it's going to be 30 degrees and people are going to be going into battle in full leather and chainmail armour, running around in a blistering heat at 30 degrees. And I'm like, that's not me.
That's every year at Tewkesbury, that is. So I'm used to that. But the difference there, we had water ladies, but there was also dudes as well.
Ladies of the lakes.
They'll just come along with like a big flagon of water. You'd be like...
Yeah, we have those. We have people on hand in battles to just like pour water over people, which is pretty cool.
Give you sweets as well to keep
How do you like, if you're like magic,
which
LARPing,
I am,
how do you like fight someone and be like, oh no, well I was level 20, so
yeah, it's like that. So I'm not really sure because I don't do a lot of battle magic. Yeah, there's rules. It's like any role playing system.
Yeah.
So you'll get like scrolls, which will have what you have, and then you give it to that person. They attach it to themselves, so they know what debuffs and stuff they have. And it's the same with potions. You get like actual physical card representations of things like mana crystals, and then you get a visual representation of a mana crystal, and they kind of go along with each other. Yeah. It's really cool. Yeah. You guys should come.
I don't know if I'd like, I don't know. Like,
you don't think you'd get it? Do you not think you'd get it? Some people can't get past like the theatre kid element of LARPing.
Potentially, yeah. Yes. Like I think
cringe is over. We can be free now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, like I love D&D, played D&D loads, but then dressing up as someone and running around and...
You'll have the best time.
Yeah, like...
You'll love it.
If I let myself enjoy it, I'm sure I'd have a blast, but it would just...
You'd have to take yourself out of like the, I'm looking like a bit of a weirdo.
What would you be?
Yeah, so what would your character be?
I don't know.
Oh.
Okay, so you can be like...
I don't know. Yeah.
What, do you want to be a knight? Do you want to be an elf? Do you want to be like a spooky lizard man?
I really like playing Dragonborn in D&D.
You can, cool. Okay. So there's a race of people who have like scales and stuff like that. You can be one of those, and you can.
Sounds like expensive.
It is.
I'm just going to be a peasant.
There you go. Okay, well then you can be in the marches, who are the peasants.
Oh.
It's actually one of the most expensive kits because they do a lot of layering.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting.
What's the cheapest?
Probably Navarre, which is the one I'm in.
Okay, I'll do that one.
Yeah, there you go.
Just wear bark and nothing.
Yeah. I remember there was one year that was really, literally, it was really hot, and then the leg wrap bikini came out, and we don't talk about that. That was a bad time for me. It was like 34 degrees, and I was like, I am not wearing clothes. So, in that case, extremely cheap. Shut up, PG.
I just imagine myself in
just borrow some masking tape. It's fine. Yeah. I didn't say it was me.
Yeah. One way to exfoliate your hair, isn't it?
Yeah. LARPing and waxing.
Yeah.
Who would win in a fight? 20 sassy nurglings or 4 average sized squigs?
20 sassy nurglings. They could literally just like sass up, do their little pose, and the squigs would be like, you got it.
Yeah.
I'm out. Yep, definitely the sassy nurglings.
Yeah. Favourite squig?
Oh, there's so many. Oh, I like Flat Squig. I like the Mine Squig. He's great, though. What is it, Clonk?
I can't remember.
Kronk?
I suppose that's the noise he makes, isn't it, when he hits stuff?
Yeah, the one that's just come out. He's pretty cute. There's so many good squigs. I like the Spore Squig. I like the Gargantuan Squig. The giant one. The big one that Trish sculpted. Yeah, but I think it's the Flat Squig because he's the cutest. He's a little cutie pie. He's a little cutie pie.
Where did your fascination with critters come from?
I think being a critter myself really helps with that. Just being like a little guy and having the little guy energy. I really relate to like the little guys that I paint because I'm like, oh, he's just a sassy little guy, and I'm like, well, I'm just a sassy little guy. So I think it's probably that, and I don't know, I just like cute stuff. Yeah. So probably that, and they're easy to paint as well. Like if you're painting little critters, you're just having a good time. Yeah. It doesn't take very long. It's not intimidating, and you get to have fun.
Yeah.
So probably that. Good questions.
Excellent. Jamie asks, your videos are always made to a high standard. You learn video editing and composition at GW, or was it a side hobby first?
I don't really know. So I went to art school to do things like graphic design, and in that course there was like a very short Adobe sort of program, but that was like 15 years ago. I've always made videos. I like making shorts. I like making TikToks. I like putting videos together, and I've always used the Adobe suite. Like I've always used Lightroom. I've always kept up to date with those things. So it was pretty easy for me to just transition into the editing role as well. But I really appreciate that because I think people don't know editing's as hard as it is.
Yeah.
I think people think it's pretty easy, but I consider my editing form as like a second presenter, which is really good fun for me because it means I get to add like little like captions at the bottom and have fun with my videos and add little animations and stuff like that. So when I present, it's like part of my job. And then when I edit, I also put a lot of myself into that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that makes my videos fun and makes it fun for me to actually do them as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah. My grandfather's axe asks,
Yes.
what is the best pink?
Ooh, so I have been on a mighty quest for God knows how many years, since before I worked at Games Workshop, for the perfect magenta. And I'll probably make a video about this at some point.
Yeah.
I love fluorescent pink. I struggle with the Vallejo one sometimes because you're supposed to use it in glazes, and I quite like that matte finish. Then like the Games Workshop range for a really long time were just a bit flat. Like Emperor's Children was good, but then Screamer Pink was too dark, and then is it Pink Horror is too muted.
Yeah.
Then they released Doomfire Magenta, and that was hot. That was so good. And now my favorite to use recently is, I think, is it Game Color by Vallejo have just re-released?
Yeah, they've re-released the new.
Yeah, and the
paints,
fluorescent is very good there. I've also done things like, because this has been like a proper quest, use things like, I think it's, God, what's the pen? So there's these pens called, I think, Molotov, and you get like highlighter refills. So I've been using highlighter refills for a lot of my painting too, because it's like extremely strong and very matte. But I think right now it is Game Color.
Okay.
Fluorescent magenta. Very good, very good.
There's a nice swathe of AK ones as well.
Is there?
Have you tried?
The more like enamel ones, the bright ones. I think I've got
There's
those.
pearlescent ones, there's fluorescent ones, there's...
I've got the fluorescent ones. I've just not used them yet. So maybe that'll be the
also
one.
Pro Acryl might have some magentas as well.
They do, but they're just not like, I want that. I want it to be like black, like reactive magenta.
Yeah.
Which Doomfire Magenta I thought might be, but it's not, which is disappointing. However, I think all the Vallejo ones are, which is great.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
What Warhammer Fantasy race would each of the Painting Phase hosts be?
Okay.
They can't all be the same.
Dark Elf.
Yeah.
Don't ask.
Bondage, totally into it.
Dark Elf. For the Patreons! Don't ask questions. Peaches a Dark Elf. You would be, I think, Caesar Sigmar. Oh, Old World. Empire then. Because I think
He's got the Empire vibe.
Yeah, I think you've got an Empire vibe. And Jeff can, I guess, be like an Ogren because he's like really big. Done. I'm happy with that. Ogre Kingdoms, Empire. I'm actually Dark Elf. I'm actually quite. I'm quite happy with that.
I eat Borgags for breakfast. So.
They keep putting them in his mouth and he thinks they're eggs. He's just.
I do. It's like, these are funny looking apples.
Ooh, they come with strings.
I like a toffee apple, but these are weird.
Oh God.
Oh, dearie me.
Was that the answer you wanted?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah,
it's the answer you wanted.
yeah. Very good. Do you have a top 3 favourite minis you painted? And is there one that kind of got away?
Oh, the one that got away. Okay, so top 3 that I've painted. Ooh. So probably it's all my Zinch stuff. And it makes me sad because I feel like I plateaued with my hobby. I need to do more ambitious projects because when you're time restricted, you want to paint very small things so you can move on to the next thing very quickly. But I miss doing bigger projects. I think my top one is probably the Spy Ranks. Spy Ranks?
Yeah.
I did, and then it's the Tomb King conversion that I did as well, which is the other big Zinch birdie that I did.
Oh yes. That's
and then it's the Fungoid Cave Shaman because I really enjoyed it. Obviously, I enjoyed doing my own goblin. That was just super cool. There's loads. The one that got away is that So before I got good at painting, my main hobby used to actually be converting miniatures, which is why I've got like that big Zinchi bird thing. That used to be like my main enjoyment. And that was during the time where I wasn't really posting so much online, so people didn't see it. But the one that got away is I did this really cool, like Lovecraftian demon prince conversion, which was like a Tomb King miniature. And then I used a bunch of Skaven tails to make like its head like very Narlathotepian. That was a good word. With like lots of thank you, lots of tentacles and stuff. And it was like surfing on a disc screamer conversion. And I never painted it. I still have it exactly. That would be the one that got away. And one day it's like maybe 10 plus years old now, because obviously it was like Tomb King Skaven conversions and stuff like that. That's cool. But that would be the one that got away, I think, because I never painted it and I really liked it. So
awesome. Yeah.
Good.
Michael asks, are you the person who taught Rob slap chop?
Yes. So
are you the Turkish monk?
I am the Turkish monk.
The Turkish monk.
We were gonna do a video on this, which was gonna but we never did because it's stupid and people just are really negative about slap chop, which is sad. But I guess we can say this now.
It's just part of the vernacular. That's great.
Literally, it's fun. It's fun. Yeah. I don't get it. I don't get it. We can have a whole episode about slap chop probably, and that's probably what Rob's was. But Rob was trying to paint a lot of orcs at the time, and he has just horrifically unmedicated ADHD, and he cannot concentrate on doing that, and painting isn't what he likes doing. He just wants painted miniatures, and that's a really hard barrier for entry. So I was trying to teach him quick layering and speed painting and stuff like that, and by the time we got to layer 2, he was already I don't like this. So it was really tricky. So I decided to be okay, what's the quickest way I can think to help this guy paint his miniatures who doesn't like painting? So I was spray it black, 2 dry brushes and a couple of washes, and he was this is life-changing. And I was it's because I told him it. I was oh, it's called just a zenithal prime. He wasn't just making it up. It was, I taught him the proper methods and stuff, and he just fell in love with it. And I was so happy because I saw someone who didn't like painting genuinely enjoy painting again. And I was so proud of him. I was so pleased. And then he made his little video, and I was this is hilarious, because he just took the piss completely.
It was brilliant.
It was very funny.
Because I think you were still at Games Workshop at the time.
Yes.
But there's that one scene where he's outside and he takes a sip of coffee,
and you can hear me laughing.
Zooms in, and they're just still and I was
laugh.
That sucks.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't know that I was behind the scenes, helping him out. I don't want to say how much I was helping him out, but helping him out with the video. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
As a painter, I didn't think it was bad. Because it became so popular, people attached intent to the video. People were he's trying to monetize off it being called a different thing. He's trying to do all this stuff. And it was it was for his 500 Twitch followers to just have a bit of a giggle at.
Yeah.
And it became huge. And I'm so pleased.
Yeah.
And it was so nice to be a part of that project, I think, whilst working at Games Workshop, because at Masterclass, I was paywalled and I had to paint at a very high level. And it was fun to just see someone do some very slap chop. It was very oh yeah, just have a bit of fun with your miniature, slap some colours on, take the piss a little bit, and just reach a massive audience with that. And I think that was lovely. And people now just use the term, which is crazy. Because I showed Rob the slap chop video because he likes infomercials.
Yes.
So I don't want to say I invented the name too, but I don't actually want to say that because people then will hate me. But I loved it. I thought it was great fun.
So my point of view with that is regardless of what people refer to it as before, pre-highlighting or
zenithal and grisé en grisé.
Well, I always used to call it pre-highlighting because I like spraying.
Pre-shading.
Well, no, because I'd spray.
What did I used to call
I'd spray a grey,
it?
then I'd dry brush it with a lighter bone, then I'd just use contrast.
Everyone had a different name for
exactly.
it. Yeah.
This is the thing.
I called it
Everyone had a different
zenithal.
name for it, whereas hit that. What it did was it highlighted a method that some people may not have known existed.
Appreciated a method. Sorry, you said it. That was a joke. That was it was a funny joke. Sorry, Peach.
I went over my head, or because it's really sweaty and it just
glides. It's like a slip and slide right now.
Slips over.
But if it means like more people are aware of a type of process that can get things painted quicker on the tabletop, and I don't care how the blooming like quality Nazis out there, they're having a go at people like, how dare you have like these slapshot models on the tabletop in front of me.
I've never seen anyone care that it's...
we've had people
surely
like,
not.
I think we've
about
done,
like basic paint jobs.
We've done some like we did a video like the guard video, and it was like, can you paint an army in 12 hours? And
yeah,
it was
that was a great video.
No,
I remember
you've done it
that
in 15.
one.
Yeah, it was a good. Yeah, it's our most popular video.
Is it? I loved it. Yeah, it was great.
And some people are going, I can't understand why anybody would want to paint like this.
Some people don't like painting.
Yeah, and that's it.
I think like painting to the highest point.
Or their joy is just playing the game, and that's an absolutely valid way to enjoy Warhammer.
Yeah.
Is to want to play games.
Yeah.
And not necessarily like be very good at painting.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely fine.
Like, when we had Tom on and we were talking about the products, and loads of people say, I hate the mold line remover, just use a knife. And he was like, I think he said the mold line remover was his proudest product that he made.
Him. I took the piss out of it.
Because a kid could go in and buy it, because a kid can't buy a knife.
Yeah.
And it's
barrier
like,
for entry.
it's okay. Like, if you don't like something, it's just probably not for you.
Yeah.
Literally.
So, and I think that...
I don't slap chop, but I see the benefit in teaching people how to do it. I was very proud of that video.
Yeah.
Neither of us expected what happened, which that it became, and I'm very sure that if we knew, we wouldn't have called it slap job.
So Jeff on Monday said a company got in touch with him, and they were like, we do like Warhammer parody t-shirts, and
they've got a slap chop one.
Yes,
they contacted me too. We're getting one.
In the font of Slipknot it says slap chop.
It's
and
hilarious.
I was like, that's amazing.
And I think there's still loads of slap chop videos. I think Lila, do you know her? She's just made
Lila Mev,
she's just made a fantastic slap chop video, which is like, it looks better than anything I could ever paint. And you know what's incredible? Rob's a better painter now. Rob enjoys sitting down and painting, and he understands colours better. He understands how to do colour schemes, and he always goes, I'm having a great time painting. And that, he's never said that in his entire life. Yeah. And I don't know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I was happy to be part of that. I think
to be part of the team.
You beat me to that.
I was part of the team, but I taught Rob how to slap chop.
Brilliant. Nice. So I was just probably, because we're all melting.
And we are. I think my water's boiling. There's literal bubbles in the bottom of my water.
I think it was covered slightly, but I thought I'd raise it because it was funny.
Okay.
Joe has said, has Peachy asked you to watch Sharp? Has Peachy forced you to watch Sharp?
Not forced, but highly recommended it several times in casual conversation. Yes.
And then the classic painting phase question is, what is your favourite cheese?
Oh, so my favorite cheese is actually like a sharp cheddar. I like a sharp cheddar.
She got sharp in there as well.
Sharp.
Just chucking that in there.
A mature. A sharp makes it sound more like culinary. It's what Americans say. They're like a sharp cheddar. But a mature cheddar. That's my favorite cheese, but I also really like a goat's cheese. But recently I had to stop eating goat's cheese because I went to a petting zoo and the goats smell like goat's cheese. I spent a long time with those goats, and they have a gland, because I googled it. I googled like, why do goats smell like goat's cheese, because it was weird. And they have a
or does goat's cheese smell like goat?
Well, goats smell like goat's cheese because they have a gland behind their horns which secretes like the same protein as in like goat's cheese.
Oh.
So literally, goats smell like goat's cheese, and like because I had this visceral memory because I like hugged all the baby goats and I took them for little walks and I was like, I love you, baby goats, give me little smooches, and they smelled like goat's cheese. And the next day I had like a goat's cheese and pesto sandwich. It was like one of my favorite sandwiches, and I was like, it just
ate a baby
tastes. No, that's fine. But like it just it just tastes like the smell of the goats.
Yeah.
So I'm removed enough from that memory now that I've gone back to eating a lot of goat's cheese.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a fun story for you about goats and proteins.
Yeah.
It just occurred to me whilst you were
Dave's back
talking.
No, I think
it's
that's
a wasp.
I think that's his angry cousin.
Yeah. It might be. Louise did teach me something. She taught me a lot. She taught me a lot whilst I was there. All sorts of
how to feel,
how to feel, how to understand the internet, how to respond properly on things like social media.
Yeah.
But one of the things she did teach me was how to say Spice Girls in a Scottish accent.
Have you tried this? So, say space ghetto in an American accent. You have to do it. You have to.
So, Valley, I think it's Space Ghetto.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
it's
space,
like Spice Girls.
Spice Girl in a Scottish accent.
Space Ghetto.
Space Ghetto.
Space Ghetto.
Space Ghetto. Spice Girl in a Scottish accent. The more you know. I'm glad that that's the lasting impression I had on you, Pete.
Best thing ever.
Best thing I taught him. You know, of all the you know, the in-depth feelings that we were like talking about. It's like Space Girl.
Space Ghetto.
Space Girl.
Whilst you're here as well, I'm gonna, because Mrs. Peach watches a lot of your videos. She watches ours, obviously. They're not as good. She enjoys Louise's. She often be upstairs.
I love Mrs.
showering
Peach.
Charlie, and I can just hear your voice in the background. Like,
Hello.
She's watching.
Loud, hypnotic Scottish voice.
Louise Sugden. Oh, she's
Uncanny. It's like I'm in the room right now.
For a minute, I was like, why is there
Whoa.
two socks? Yeah.
But yeah, she's often so her and her friend go for like coffees and stuff. She's like, I was telling Colette about like Louise and like the colours that she does, and she follows you on Facebook. So you got a big fan with Mrs. Peach. So I thought.
Oh, I'm a big fan of Miss Peach too. Hi, Miss Peach. Hi, Charlie as well. I like you too. You probably like your dad more than me, but I like you.
I remember we were at Bugman's and we said hello, and it was like it wasn't the time where we met like Guy and Hattie, it was the time before that, and he just kept shouting you because
I know I was sitting at a different table or something from you guys because it was busy, and he was like Louise, and I was like Charlie, I'm so sorry.
Leave her alone. Leave her alone.
No, I like Charlie Beach.
He's all right.
Yeah, he's great. He's all right.
He's all right. He does as he's told.
He does as he's told. Crikey. But yeah. I forgot what the question was. Oh yeah, cheese. I did that thing that I do.
Yeah.
Oh no, I did it. I ruined it.
Was it you?
Yeah, it was my fault.
Did you say camembert earlier?
I did say camembert because my favourite joke is what cheese do you use to get a bear out of its cave? Camembert.
Yeah.
So I thought we'd finished talking about cheese.
No,
I
we're
wasn't
back. We're back to
interrupted.
cheese.
Yeah.
Sounds-
No, it's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Or you can interrupt the cheese chat. That's okay.
That's not okay.
Cheese chat.
It's
That should be,
it's the cornerstone of the entire podcast.
Yeah. It's not Warhammer or experiences.
It's the cheese chat.
Yeah.
Cheese chat. Well, I'd like to say that you're welcome back on the show anytime.
I'd love to be.
So do come back. I'd also like at some point to reinstitute an old custom, which is Louise Peachy Creechy Feechy.
I accept this challenge, which was when me and Peachy used to go on Twitch and we'd get the chat. Explain it.
So early lockdown, to add interest to what was a boring.
It was every single day. It wasn't boring, it was hard.
Enjoying it.
There's only so many times you can say Magnus did nothing wrong and go, huh.
We're all painting stuff, and I wanted to do something different. Everyone wanted to do, Wade started reading out stories, and then we had
I like
quizzes
story
and stuff like
time.
that. So we tried to
Guess Who.
Guess Who, yeah.
Love that.
So I started asking the chat, like slinging in the chat just like a creature, an animal that exists, and then I'll pick 3 of them. In the end, I start like D20ing, do this one, then
and then it has to be from a realm as well.
Yeah, I pick a realm, and then I basically
just to make it vaguely Warhammer related.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do, was make it Warhammery. And then I just combined like the 3 creatures, and then just did a drawing.
I loved it, and I remember
creature feature.
One of my favorite times on Warhammer TV was when you just decided to surprise me by showing me all your sketches.
And you were in tears.
I was like peeing and crying, trying to be a professional because Peachy's, and I think you should do a video on it, because Peachy's book of creatures is the most cursed thing. And he just whapped out on a $1 billion pound corporate live stream and was like, anyway, here's a picture of my son with the body of a dog. And I was like, Peachy, that's really good.
And it was like a weird butterfly fish
and he's like, here's Wade with a chainmail bikini, and I'm like, it is Wade. And I was just like crying and screaming.
There was some horrible facial expressions.
It was a lot for me to handle mentally.
I think I had club-footed pigeon as one of the options, so I had to do a pigeon that had a club foot.
It was just upsetting, to say the least. But we should do it, and then we should get miniatures made.
Yeah, we did have that. Rob Lou cast a couple of the things that we did, didn't he? But
we should do new ones. Yeah.
Make up some new ones.
It'd be really fun, and then we can paint them.
We'll get chat to chuck in some suggestions, and we just.
Oh yeah, hi chat.
Because we did it together once, where we just did it live.
That was fun. I had like a Chihuahua which was
I think we both had the same, didn't we?
Oh yeah, we did the same one, and we saw like at the end how it was different. That was really good fun.
Yeah.
I'll try and find a picture of that because that was like a good time. But yeah, we'd like to bring that back
At some point, somehow.
Somehow, we
to
both
the
do
world.
Twitch now, which is great. So like maybe we
There's
can
no
do that.
excuses, there.
No, there really isn't. Not anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Combine. Well, thank you for coming on the show.
yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Sorry, it's been so warm and sweaty. Sorry,
it's okay.
Like a dustbin.
Same. That's me, Peach. It's okay.
It's not like a dustbin. A sweaty dustbin. Thanks,
Yeah.
Pat. You look so sweaty as well.
Do
Hi, Pat.
Do I
No,
look
you look
gross?
lovely. Don't listen to him. You're
luckily,
glowing.
My camera's run out of battery, so.
Oh, good. Well, he is absolutely drenched. He just, since you can't see him, I'll give you a visual
Moist, I
representation.
think, is
Just,
it?
Even his nipples are leaking. Look at it.
Just.
Ugh.
just absolutely, just uncomfortable. But with that,
Well, thank you, Suggs.
thank you.
And until next time, farewell.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I don't know why I'm saying bye to you. You're going to be, bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.